I'm going to have to re-edit that, aren't I? It ends too suddenly. Hey up, it's Steve from that Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to part 15 of my series, TOYG's Thoughts, that Old Yorkshire Geek's Thoughts, on every episode of classic Star Trek. So that's Star Trek from the original series all the way up to Enterprise. Not doing the new stuff. Anyway, Josh Temple's here. He says, never fear, Maddie's here. Harpoon at the ready to harpoon some of them pesky Klingons, because we're on Deep Space Nine, Season 4, with Klingons causing their trouble for the brave crew of Deep Space Nine. And all that stuff. Right, before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed. And then you'll be told when I do live streams or upload new stuff and things like that. Right, we should be live on YouTube. Yes, we are. We should be live on Rumble. Yes, we are. And we're live on Twitch as well. Don't know how I keep doing Twitch. And Winggrace is here. He says, I expect copious pooning. Josh Temple is, I forgot his name now. Quopek, something like that. From Battle Beyond the Stars. My Pooner. From from the Lambda Zone. Oh, I forgot the bloody name I know. Cayman of the Lambda Zone. Just says, sorry I've not been around. I had my 95-year-old grandpa ended up in hospital a week ago. Oh dear. And they just moved him to rehab yesterday and the wedding last week. And work's been nuts, so be lurking. Well, I'm just glad you're still around, Josh. Just glad you're still around. And best of luck to your grandpa, 95. Hope I make it to 95. I won't. But anywho, explore the description for links such as merch, which I'm not wearing, although I do have a t-shirt similar to this. This is me USS Cerritos t-shirt. Fortunately, I spilled something there. Can you see that mark there? I spilled something on the Cerritos, and it's left a blob. Anyway, it won't come out. Where were we? For merch and stuff like that. My books. Oh, they're under it. Come here, you blooming things. My books on Amazon Kindle and paperback. Give them a whirl. And other stuff. There's other links for my music. I put a new song up today on my music channel, TOYG's Music. Links for that in the description as well. Become a member and then you get exclusive videos and early access videos. And I know I've not done a lot recently. But I will get back round to it. It's been a bit manic here as well because we've been having trouble with not trouble, but my son's been having problems in the last few weeks with his eyes. It took him to the opticians on Saturday, and it turns out after 30, how old is he? 32 now. He's slightly short-sighted like his dad, and he needs glasses, so he's not happy about that. But anyway, so I've got to go pick those up for him on Saturday. So I've been looking after him and comforting him because he's not happy about it because he's autistic and it's a change and he doesn't like change. But anyway, that's enough of my problems. Right, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Season 4. All right, and super chats and super thanks, we greatly appreciated. And I remembered to put my proper hat on, my other hat, my cap. I had my TOYG cap on, and with about 30 seconds to spare, I thought, oh, I've got wrong cap on. So I've got my Starfleet cap on. I got this from a convention. It was just there, and it wasn't the Star Trek convention, it was just a regular convention. I saw this cap on a stall. £5. I thought, I'll have that bugger. Right. Where were we? Deep Space Nine, Season 4. A really, really good season of Star Trek, in my opinion. Maybe the best season. I don't know. That could be argued. But it is a really good season of television. So we'll get into it, shall we? We will get into it. I shall... I've got the wrong background, haven't I? Hang on, where are we? Let me change it. I forgot to put my other background on. My Starfleet background there. We've got my UFP. Which looks like that. I'll stay there. I usually go up there a bit, don't I? But I'll stay there, be right. Right, so I have got my episodes synced up, so we'll get on with it, shall we? It starts off, this is Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 4, episodes 1 and 2. It's a feature-length episode. Perhaps, in my opinion, maybe the best episode of Deep Space Nine. I really like it. The Way of the Warrior It's really, really good. We get introduced to a new cast member on Deep Space Nine, a new crew member, but not a new character, one we've met before, but we'll get into that. We will get into that. Remember at the end of last season, end of season 3, we found out that the changelings were everywhere in the Federation. So we've got that to worry about now. The Dominion have infiltrated the Alpha Quadrant. It gets me right mad with they just talk about the Alpha Quadrant, particularly in the Dominion War, but the Federation is overlaps the Alpha and Beta Quadrants, and they kind of just lump the Alpha and Beta Quadrants together. Whose idea was it to put Earth on the border between the Alpha and Beta Quadrants? Whoever that was, were an idiot. But anyway, whatever. Right, so here we go. Right, I will full screen this, and we will get on with it as I shall go through the episode. And try and not be too long on each episode. I know I get carried away, don't I? Anyway, so here we go. There we go. In memory, I'm guessing they have passed away. I'm guessing they have. Right, so here we go then. On the crew of Deep Space Nine. Remember, he's got a beard now, and he's a captain. Remember, he got promoted to captain at the end of season 3. He's also shaved his head, so he looks more like Avery Brooks wanted to look to start with. He was never happy having hair. He always liked to have a shaved head. I think he looked like that in, I forgot the name of the series he was in. He was in a series, wasn't he? But he kind of had that look. Anyway, they're going around the station looking for changelings. We think changelings have infiltrated the station, but it's not. It's just an exercise, and we're going to see that. There we go. Oh, they're using Odo to practice phasering changelings. So there we go. So anyway. So they're all having that fun. But then suddenly, loads of Klingons. Hang on, let's skip on a bit. Because they've gone to the bridge. And there we go. Loads of Klingons arrive. A huge fleet of Klingons arrive, led by General Martok, who we'll get to see a lot more of in Star Trek. But is this? I don't think it is it? Spoilers for way ahead. I don't know what season we learn. Maybe it's season 5. I can't remember. Windgrace will know. But the Martok, I think this one maybe isn't the real Martok. But anyway. Yes, we find out at the beginning of season 5, don't we? Yes, we do. And we think General Martok's dead. But we find out he's not, and he's in a Dominion prison camp. But that's for season 5. I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, played by the great... I've forgotten his name. Is that great? I've forgotten his blooming name. What am I like? I'm going to have to look it up now, aren't I? I have to look it up. Because I'm rubbish with names. J.G. Hertzler. That's it, J.G. Hertzler. We're also going to see Gowron with his eyes as well in this. Some great character actors in this. In this episode. So anyway, it turns out the Klingons are basically going to invade Cardassia, because they think Cardassia has been overrun by the changelings, because apparently the civilian, there's been like a coup, sort of, not a coup, but the civilians have taken over Cardassia. It's become all nice now. The military's no longer in charge, and the Klingons believe that it's the changelings that are behind it. And by the way, this is... Worf arrives because all these Klingons about causing the trouble, and what's his face? Sisko says the only people who can deal with Klingons are Klingons. Get me Starfleet Command, he says, and then Worf comes onto the station, Lieutenant Commander Worf, and he's between jobs, sort of, because this is set just after. The events of Star Trek Generations, when the Enterprise D was destroyed at Viridian 3, and now Worf basically doesn't know what to do with himself. O'Brien tries to tell him, I'm sure they're building a new Enterprise. And he says, it will not be the same. Anyway, so he's arrived, and Sisko wants him to work out, or suss out, what's going on with these Klingons. So he says, fair enough. But anyway, so he meets... I meant to do this. He meets Kira and Dax who looks astonishingly gorgeous. I don't know, she looks radiant. See if you can see it when they come out. They've been on the holodeck, been Guinevere and all that in the King Arthur story. But anyway, and Kira looks radiant. It must be the lighting or something, I don't know, but they look astonishingly gorgeous in this. But I don't know why, it must be the lighting. They all look radiant. But anyway, so Worf has got to find out what's going on with these Klingons. So he what does he do? Where does he? There we go. He gets one of his old friends and gets him drunk on blood wine, and gets him to tell him what the Klingons are going to do. And we learn that they're going to invade Cardassia. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. So, and anyway, obviously they don't know if the Cardassians have been taken over by the changelings. But they suspect not. They get in touch with Gul Dukat. There he is, and he says, "Of course they haven't." But why would you believe Gul Dukat? But anyway, they decide to go and save the leaders of the new. Hang on, I've gone too far. I haven't. Of the Cardassian government. So they end up taking on. Where are we? Here we go. They end up taking on a couple of Klingon ships. Wingresses. So the TOYG episode where he hung out on DS9, he never met anyone. It was that one, yeah. It was that one where Data were having his dreams, wasn't he? I forgot what they call that one now. What was that one called? Because the second episode, it was a two-part, but the second episode was crap, wasn't it? Where he ended up going to that Romulan camp and he freed some of the Klingons that were there, didn't he? But no, he mustn't have caught up with O'Brien or anybody. They've kind of forgotten about that one, haven't they? But anyway, never mind. All he did, he met. All that happened was he met James Cromwell as an Iridian, didn't he? Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes, they're saving the leaders of the new Cardassian government. There they are. From Klingons, look, they're shooting at them. They've gone in the Defiant to save the day. Don't like pulse phasers. I don't like them. I know they're designed, aren't they? The Defiant phasers, the pulse phasers. Apparently, it's got regular phasers as well, hasn't it? I'm sure I've seen that somewhere. That is each pulse a different frequency? I don't know. That's what I guess it is, because it was designed to go up against the Borg, wasn't it? So, but they save the day. They save the day in the end because a Klingon Vorcha-class attack cruiser arrives any minute now. But they use the tractor beam. Here we go. They use the tractor beam to make it so it can't aim at them properly. Look, and anyway, they get away. They get away and save the Cardassian government, and the Klingons are not happy about this, so they start attacking Deep Space Nine. So there's a big battle at Deep Space Nine, and there we go. But luckily, Deep Space Nine's now armed to the teeth, thanks to the Dominion. Starfleet's beefed up Deep Space Nine's armaments. So great space battle, although some of the ships are explosions are a bit model-y. See if we land on one. Particularly, it's like they've used a model kit of a Katinga class Klingon ship. See if we can see one. Because it looks very poo. I'm probably not going to land on one. I think they use it a couple of times as well in other various battles. But it is cool. It is nice to see space battles in Star Trek. Proper space battles are not just ones on the screen where you see dots disappearing, which they did do a lot. Save money, obviously. I want to find this Klingon battle cruiser blowing up. Anyway. And if Quest is watching, I'm sorry, it's Jadzia Dax. Ezra's not here yet. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, hang on. No, that's a cool shot, by the way. I like that one, but that's not the one I'm on about. Cool. I don't know. Did they use this again in this season? They go to the mirror universe, and they'll go up against Worf as I forgot his name now. The Regent, and he's got a big. What class is this? This kind of Klingon ship, I don't know what class it is. Windgrace will probably know, but I have no idea. And he has a ship like that. Anyway, the Klingons end up withdrawing. They're losing too many casualties. I can't find that shot of that Klingon. It was probably earlier on. Never mind, don't matter. Never mind. And anyway, Klingons, that's it, they're not withdrawing yet because they've got to board the station. So we have lots of fighting on the station. It's all cool. And even Gul Dukat and Garak fight side by side if we land on them. Pardon me, Kira gets injured. Where's Gul Dukat and Garak? Probably gone past it. Probably gone past it. But anyway, the Klingons end up withdrawing because there's a Federation, a Starfleet task force is on the way. So they withdraw to just outside Bajoran and Cardassian space, and they just sit there. And we learn, I think it's the end of this episode, that the Klingons are withdrawing from the Khitomer Accord. So the Federation Klingon alliance is over. You have sided in battle against us, and Klingons do not forgive or forget with his eyes because it's Gowron. Anyway, and Worf. Because he were unsure what to do because of the destruction of the Enterprise D. Why didn't he just go on the Enterprise E? I don't know, but he were unsure what to do. He were thinking of resigning his commission and going on I forgot the name, an alien freighter or something, Mazarite, something like that. But ends up his side swaps to he goes from security into command, and he becomes the strategic operations officer for Deep Space Nine. So there we go. That's the end of Thingamabob. The Way of the Warrior, which is an amazing episode. I really like it. I really like The Way of the Warrior. Possibly the best Deep Space Nine episode, in my opinion. I really like it. I think it's cool. It's kind of the best of both worlds of Deep Space Nine. But it's a pity we never saw the Borg in it on Deep Space Nine, but never mind. So there we go. So that's The Way of the Warrior. Cool episode, as I said, probably my favourite. Right, next up, The Visitor, episode 2. I could be crying on this one. We'll see. We will see. This one sets me off all the time. An amazing episode. I met Tony Todd at a convention and I told him that this episode's the only episode of Star Trek that's made me cry. But that's not true anymore. Because a couple of episodes in this season set me off. I've kind of become more emotional as I've got older. Can't hold my tears in check for as much. Anyway, this episode is basically a Jake and Benjamin Sisko episode, and both of them put in amazing performances. I wasn't really ever a fan of Jake Sisko. He was kind of the Wesley Crusher, wasn't he, of Deep Space Nine. But after this, I don't know. I kind of warmed to him, particularly in this episode. He's amazing in this episode. Anyway, we begin, and we see old Jake, played by the late great Tony Todd, and this young woman just arrives at his home. She's wet through and she's injured because he lives out somewhere in the bayou or whatever, probably Louisiana. And there's an old man. He's Jake. So this is set in the future, in the 25th century, I imagine. And we learn that his dad died, and he's spent his life trying to find a way to get him back. So that's what this episode's about. And then we have a flashback, obviously, to what happened. So it's telling her the story. And I forgot to mention previously, we get new credits on season 4. They kind of spiced up the credits a bit because they were a bit boring. The seasons 1 to 3 credits were a bit boring. But in this one, they've shown that Deep Space Nine is now a hub of activity. Look, we even get ships docked at the station, and even we've got things in the background. Look, we can see nebulae and stuff. What is this in the background? I don't know. Is it near? Is that the Denarius belt? I don't know. But we see ships docked at the station, and also I don't know where we'll be, but we get a... Let me see. Lieutenant Commander Worf, he gets his credit. But we also... there's no Alexander Siddig. Not Alexander. Siddig El Fadil has been sacked. He's been sacked as Siddig El Fadil. And they've got this other fella in play. There he is. Some other fella called Alexander Siddig. Similar name to the fella that was sacked and fired. And he kind of looks like him as well, as Dr. Bashir. Don't know why they did that. I think there's a conspiracy going on. But anyway, so there we go. Right, so... off he goes, telling his story to this. I thought she was going to end up being a changeling or something nefarious, but no. Turned out she's a writer. Jake had grown up and become a writer. And anyway, but then after his dad died, and now he's telling her the story. We see Jake's writing, using I think so. Is he writing? Is he writing it in cursive and it's appearing as printed word on the pad? I always wonder how these pads work. I don't know. But anyway, he's on the Defiant with his dad, and they're going to watch some cosmic event happen. But there's an accident in engineering. Jake goes down. He's told to stay where put, but obviously he doesn't, so he goes down. He ends up helping his dad, and something happened with the warp core and this thing where there's something in space. We're doing something every so often, and every I don't know, 70 years or whatever. It did this thing, and they were there to watch it, but it buggered up the warp core on the Defiant, and they just about shut it down. But then they went, "Oh, we did it!" But then as he's standing there, he gets zapped and disappears. Oh, look, he disappears. Ooh. But it's not the last time he saw him, so they think he were killed. So they have a funeral and everybody's sad, and I think they did. I can't remember if they mentioned who were going to replace him. No, they think they get another captain in, wouldn't you? I don't know if they ever mentioned it, or maybe they didn't get round to it. I don't know. I can't remember. But even Morn's looking sad. Look. Anyway, so right, so there's Jake and Nog there, and Jake goes to bed, and then there's a flash in his quarters, and his dad appears. Oh, crikey, says, "Dad, what's happening?" And then he just disappears again, and he thinks, "Was it a dream?" So he tells Dax and all them, and the scan his quarters, and was it all a dream? We don't know. But anyway, the upshot is, he reappears. He does appear again, so everybody believes him because they all see it. And it turns out he's like being he's in like a pocket of subspace or something. There's a techno-babble explanation for it, and they've got to try and find it. He's trapped there, so he's feeling no passage of time. So he's trapped in this pocket of subspace. And they don't know why he keeps reappearing, but it always seems to be near Jake when he reappears. But years pass, and he doesn't reappear. Jake gets married to a lovely young Bajoran woman. Nog gets in Starfleet, and that season 3 where he applied to join Starfleet? I think it was, wasn't it? Anyway, he's a commander now in Starfleet by this time. Jake's become Tony Todd, and but he can't. I think his dad appears again, and I think he does. Yes, he does. Dad appears. Look again. So he's like, "Dad, after all these years," he says, "Oh, Jake, you've grown up," and I'm sat crying my eyes out at this episode, and he's had books published, so he's proud of him, and I'm sat bawling my eyes out, and then he disappears again, and they're all crying. Anyway, so they decide they're going to try and recreate the conditions and see if they can bring him back. So they're all old now. They're all old fogies in old man makeup and old woman makeup. Captain Nog, I don't know. She's still a commander, is Dax. Nog's gone past her. That's why he gets a ship named after him. There's no USS Daxes, is there? Windgrace is probably going to tell me I'm wrong. Anyway, they go back to Deep Space Nine, and they're going to go to the place where that thing happened. It's like Old Faithful, sort of, in space. and they're going to try and recreate what happened. So off they go, and he thinks it's happening, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't work, and he disappears again. Then they're both in like where the I thought it were going to be the prophets, the Bajoran, the wormhole aliens, or maybe Q would appear to them, but no, it's just a fuzzy area. No, but there's a Dax with funny feet in Star Trek. Yes, there is. Yes. Can I help you, Commander? Or whatever he says, something like that, doesn't it? Anyway, so there you go. So they have a little conversation, and he says, "I'm proud of you and all that, and I love you, son. I love you, Dad." And I'm sat crying. And but it turns out that there's nothing they can do, and he's like anchored. Ben is anchored to Jake, and that's why he keeps appearing near Jake. There's a subspace link, because I think when they both touched that contraption he had hold of, it linked them, so he keeps appearing. So the only thing he can do basically is die. If Jake dies, the anchor will be broken, or the connection, or whatever, the cord will be broken, and it'll all reset. So anyway, so that's what happens at the end. He gives her one of his unfinished manuscripts or whatever, I don't know, and she goes on her way, and then he has a minute, and then Ben appears again. They go, "Oh, you're an old man," because he was asleep. He was watching his son sleeping. I'm crying my eyes out. And then he starts crying. He says, "I'm going to die. That's the only way that it can be severed." And then he dies to Jake Sisko, and I'm filling up already. And then it all goes back. Then the cord is broken. It snaps back. And we're at the point, the thing of the accident, and it changes. And obviously he doesn't get, because he knows now or something that he tells him, "Get out of the way," or whatever, when we go back. "Get out of the way quick." That's what he does. So obviously he doesn't get hit by the electrical discharge or whatever it was. And everything's cool, and they're all there, and they're sat crying, "I'm going to..." And that's the end. It's an amazing episode, and I'm filling up now just thinking about it. So there we go. Great episode. Not the best, but still a great episode. Because it sets me off every time. And I've got a little tear there, look, you see it, look. So there we go. So that's episode 2, The Visitor. Great episode. We're doing well, aren't we, in season 4 so far? Right, what's next? Because I can't blooming remember. I'll have to look it up, because I can't remember. My list of episodes. Oh, Hippocratic Oath, which is this one. Oh, it's another good one, is this one. Another good one. By now, Julian and O'Brien have kind of become friends now. They do things on the holodeck and all that, and they've got a dartboard and stuff like that. But so they kind of become friends. There's the dartboard. I think the B story in this is because he used to be in security, but he's not anymore, not really. But he thinks Odo's not good at his job, and that's the kind of recurring thing throughout season 4, or part of season 4. Is Worf doesn't think Odo's doing a good job of security, and he keeps sticking his nose in, and Sisko keeps telling him, "That's not your job anymore," but he can't help himself. But anyway. But the main thrust of the story is O'Brien and Bashir are in a runabout in the Gamma Quadrant. They keep buggering off to the Gamma Quadrant, don't they? In runabouts, when they know that the Dominion's out there itching for a fight, but they keep blooming going. Anyway, they pick up a distress, they pick up some signal or whatever, and go and investigate this planet, the land. I think it gets shot down or whatever, or something forces the runabout down. They end up on the planet with Jem Hadar on, and I think it's Scott McDonald plays the lead Jem Hadar. We learn their names, don't we? Learn they've got weird names. I'm gonna have to look it up, like Ometi Clan and stuff like that. Goranaga, Araktaral. They've got names that are a little bit like, I don't know, Mayan. They kind of got a Mayan feel to them. Central American sort of name, Meso clan, Temozuma. They've all got names like that with apostrophes in. But yes, it is Scott MacDonald as Goran Agar. Or Goran Agar, I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, the upshot of this is that they're on this planet. They've kind of separated themselves from the Dominion because we learned that I think we learned last season that the Jem'Hadar are chemically dependent on Ketracel White. I think it might be this episode where we learn the name of the substance that they're addicted to, that's provided by the founders. We learned that Goran Agar, you notice he doesn't have a tube. He's got a tube here, look, that's got Ketracel White going into him. He ain't got one. And we learned that he crashed on this planet at some point in the past, a year or two early or whatever. And that they ran out of Ketracel White, and he survived and they were fine, and he found he hasn't needed Ketracel White since. And he wants Julian, because Julian's a doctor, to do the same for his men, work out what it is about this planet that makes it so that he doesn't need Ketracel White again. And he says, I've brought my men here so that we don't need to be dependent on Ketracel White. Anyway, and it turns out that he can't help them, but Bashir keeps trying to escape, so they keep capturing him and beating him up. And this is where we have Dr. Bashir kind of pulling rank on O'Brien. O'Brien's obviously the most experienced of the two, but Julian outranks him. And even though Julian's only a lieutenant, I think he's had a promotion, by the way. He's now a full lieutenant. I think up to now we were like a Lieutenant JG, wasn't he? And Dax has had a promotion as well. She's now Lieutenant Commander Dax. Anywho. But poor Major Kira don't get a promotion, I think, until season 7. I think it's become Colonel Kira, don't she, in season 7? I think it's season 7. Anywho, Julian pulls rank on O'Brien and tells him, we are going to try and help these Jem'Hadar because what are you on about? What you on about, Wingrace? Are you behind? You're not watching live because J.G. Hertzler were ages ago in the previous episode. Anyway, Julian pulls rank on O'Brien and orders him to help him. So he's not happy about that. So their friendship is in jeopardy. That's Odo and Worf having their spat. But it turns out he can't help him. It's nothing to do with the planet or anything, or the air or the water or the plant life or anything. He thinks that maybe Goran Agar is essentially a mutant Jem'Hadar. He says maybe you weren't chemically dependent on it. JG. Oh right. Oh yeah. You were a Lieutenant JG. Yes. Not JG Hertzler. Yeah. Sorry. Being punny again. I can't think laterally. Dear. Where were we? Oh, Lieutenant. It's the Lieutenant you've put there, hasn't it? Sorry. I thought it said it J.G. Hertzler, but you mean Lieutenant J. Should have put a capital L, mate. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. It says maybe that Goran Agar, however you pronounce it, maybe he wasn't dependent on Ketracel White at all, ever. So there's nothing you can do for my men and all that stuff. But anyway, they end up. I think he ends up killing his men or killing some of his men, and he says, my other men will kill me because we're running out of Ketracel White. Blah blah blah. He stays there, lets them leave, but they're kind of under a cloud because of what happened. anyway, they come back, and I don't think he puts him on report because he disobeyed the direct order, did O'Brien. But anyway, so they're kind of not really talking, but I think they're fine by the next episode, I think. So it doesn't last long. Anyway, it's a decent episode, Hippocratic Oath, like I say. It's about Julian trying to help the enemy, essentially. That's what it's about, isn't it? So there we go. Next episode. Josh, what's that done for? What's the next episode? Because I can't remember. Is this which is this one? Indiscretion. Which is this one? Oh, this is the one where we meet Ducat's daughter, Zayal. Is that her name? I think it is, isn't it? I've forgotten. Does it say? Or is it Zial? Whatever. Where is it? Does it say here? Zial, yes. The first version of it. I think there's been 3 versions of Zial, I think. But anyway, it's where we first meet. Gul Dukat's daughter, so who's half Cardassian, half Bajoran. But anyway, shush. Major Kira goes on a mission with Gul Dukat because they're on the planet. They get information from somebody get information from somebody. I can't remember who. I think from another Bajoran. I think it's him from Total Recall, the movie Total Recall. I think he's been in Star Trek as well. Him. He plays the fella from Recall, doesn't he? The fella that Arnold Schwarzenegger shoots because he sweats. Him. Anyway, he's a Bajoran. He says, "I found this ship that were lost years and years ago." And he's found it, so he tells her where it is, and so she's gonna go, and Gul Dukat's gonna go with her because there were Cardassians on the ship, because it were a Cardassian ship apparently. So off they go. I don't know what the B story is. I can't remember, but anyway. Ben and Cassidy are getting closer and closer. They're really proper in love now, and but anyway. But they're gonna still be in love, but things happen with Cassidy as this season goes on. Anyway, there we go. Off they go. He's trying to be all nice. She's saying, "Don't talk to me. I bloody hate you." But so he's cooking for her. People don't complain when Ben Sisko cooks, do they? No. They complain when Captain Pike cooks. Anyway, but Ben Sisko doesn't have a big open fire in his quarters, does he? I can't remember what's happening with these two in this episode. I can't remember. Is it the one where she's thinking of moving to the station? It could be. And he goes, "Whew, that's a big step." Yes, she becomes a doctor. Does she marriage a robot? I hate that episode. I bloody do. Of the Orville we're talking about, in case you didn't know. Because she's in the Orville is Penny Johnson Gerald. Anyway, so he's telling them where to go. So off they go. They're going to find this crashed ship on Tatooine or whatever. Yes, I think he's kind of fallen. They've had a row because she said, "I'm thinking of moving to the station, getting quarters on the station." And he went, "Whew, that's a big step." And she's like, "What do you mean that's a big step?" And so she gets the oof. No, he doesn't know what to do. But anyway. Anyway, she finds Kira finds the ship's manifest or whatever, the names of who's on the ship, and she finds out that his daughter is on the ship, Zial, and we learn that he had a mistress, a Bajoran mistress, and Zial is the product of that union, not the Cardassian union. By the way. I'm sure that the Cardassian Empire being called various things. I'm sure it's been called the Cardassian Union, the Cardassian Alliance, the Cardassian Empire. I'm sure it's been called various things. But anyway, whatever. And he says when he finds her, he's going to have to kill her because of his indiscretion, the name of the episode. And she said, I'm not going to let you kill her. But obviously he doesn't. Unless she gets they find Breen. Breen are like using the survivors of the ship's crash as slave labour, the mining or whatever. So she gets dressed up as a Breen. Or maybe she's going to rescue Han Solo from the clutches of that vile gangster Jabba the Hutt. I don't know, but with the help of a thermal detonator. But here's Zial. There she is. Young Zial. She grows up quickly. I must admit, we see her later on in this season, and she, blimey. What is it with Cardassians and Klingons? They like shoot up, don't they? Like age years in months. But anyway. And obviously Dukat doesn't kill her. And it costs him. I must admit, it does cost him. He does the right thing, and it costs him. They make up, and they're fine. There's Ben and Cassidy, and Dukat takes Zial back home to Cardassia, and we learn later in the season that he loses his family and his position and everything because of Zial. But he doesn't blame her for it. He doesn't do anything to her. He still loves her and all that. And that goes forward for the rest of Deep Space Nine. His love for Zial is his undoing in the end, and it kind of sends him crazy and all that, doesn't it? Because of what happens to her. But anyway, so there we go. So that's the end of that episode, and it's an okay episode. It's fine. Not the best, but passable. I might skip it. If I was just doing like a regular watch through, it might be one I skip, or I might not. Depends what mood I'm in. Right, next. Next up, what's the next one? It's got Quark in it at the beginning. Which is the next one? Rejoined. Oh, it's this one. This is the controversial episode, isn't it? This one. Where Dax meets her ex-husband, wife, I can't remember, but I think ex-wife. When Dax was one of the other hosts, I can't remember which one, she meets the the ex-wife, who is now, the symbiont is now in a new body. So it's the symbiont basically passing on all these memories and stuff. It's all very complicated, and to be honest, a bit annoying. I'm not a big fan of this episode, but that's what happens. But directed by Avery Brooks. Did you see that? There we go. I think he directs a couple of episodes this season, I think. Let's have a look. How many? One, at least two, because I'm sure there's one later on, directed by Avery Brooks. LeVar Burton directs a couple as well. Two. He directs 2 episodes this season, and LeVar Burton directs, I think 4. I think. Where are we? Maybe 5. Hang on. How many does LeVar Burton direct? He directed Indiscretion, which we've just done. And then another one, which we'll get up to, Sword of Kahless, and then Bar Association. That sets me off. Not crying, it gets me a bit cross. Bars about unions and anyway, whatever. That's 3. Then Rules of Engagement. That's a courtroom one, which is a good one. Got my hands on that. So that's 4. 5, To the Death. Which is that one? Oh, yes, that's one of the Iconians and the Jem'Hadar. That's 5. So that's 5 episodes directed by LeVar Burton this season. But anyway, that's by the by. Where were we? Oh, yes. I don't know what the B story is. To be honest, I don't really care. Because it's a poo episode. Anyway, it's where we meet Lenara Khan. There she is. Played by the astonishingly gorgeous, I've forgotten the name. She played the Borg Queen in Voyager. Where are we? Where is it? Rejoined. I've forgotten the name. It's on the tip of my tongue, like they always are, but I can't bring it. Susanna Thompson. There we go. The lovely Susanna Thompson. I've seen something else as well, and I can't remember what. It was a series, I think. I know that was somebody else. Anyway, whatever. But anyway, so here they are. Bit of small talk at this party. Look, she's in dress uniform, is Dax, and they're a bit uncomfortable with each other because they're not supposed to sort of like get to know past hosts, symbionts, whatever. I don't know. It's not against. I don't think it's against the law, but it's kind of a taboo. And if you become, involved again with a previous life, you kind of get ostracised or whatever. But anyway, or even banished, which means death for the symbiont. So obviously it doesn't often happen because it's the host's duty to protect the symbiont at all costs, so the symbiont can move on to a new host. Anyway, so here they are getting on, and but they do get closer. They're working together. Either on some scientific thing. I can't remember what for, but some sciencey thing they're doing with the Defiant, and they're getting closer and they can't help themselves. They're still in love with each other, even though they're different people. The only thing in common is the symbiont inside. That's all that connects them. So I find it a bit confusing myself. It's a bit tricky. They're having dinner together, and Julian's acting as a chaperone. But anyway, I'm sure they do end up doing it at some point because they give him the slip. Let's see, I'd pay money. So, never mind. Anyway, they do end up having a liaison, shall we say? But this is her brother, and he notices what's going on, and he tries to warn her off. Says, behave yourself. But they're still in love, and this is the controversial bit. I think it's this bit because they're going to end up snogging. Remember, because Star Trek's woke. There they go. They're off. Look, they're going to get out in a minute. Oh, here we go. Look. They tiptoed round it, didn't they? But then suddenly, no tongues though, I don't think, anyway. So they're obviously still in love, and she's wondering what to do, and should she leave Starfleet and all that stuff, and he's like, I don't bloody know, do what you think's best, and whatever you decide, I'm with you, I'll be behind you all the way, old man, and all that stuff. But anyway, they decide to... obviously, something happens on the ship. I can't remember. Some accident, whatever. And she decides to go back to Trill, and I don't think they ever see each other again. But she's unhappy about it, and maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't. That she doesn't. I don't think it's even mentioned again. I don't think. But anyway. Off we go, and that's it. She ends with her crying, and whatever. I would definitely skip this one. It's not a terrible episode. I watched it. Normally I'd skip it, and I watched it. I thought it's not as bad as I remember, but I probably still would skip it because all this with this Trill and relationships. Is it a relationship? Are they even this? It's been noted in previous seasons that Jadzia Dax is not the same person as Curzon Dax. The only thing they've got in common is the symbiont, which remembers things from a previous host's life, but that's not the same, is it? Has it been the same person? A man is not just, or woman is not just the sum of their memories, it seems. But anyway, there we go. That's the end of that episode. Moving on. What's next? Can't remember. Starship Down is this one. Which is this one? Yes. Another Jem Hadar one in the Gamma Quadrant. Yes, they're meeting up with the Corrimer. Remember the Corrimer when they went into the Gamma Quadrant and at the beginning of season 3? So the Defiant to the Gamma Quadrant used the Corrimer to find out where the founders were. So anyway, there we go. So meeting James Cromwell playing a Corrimer chap. and they're here to negotiate stuff with Quark and the Ferengi Alliance and the Federation and trade stuff and all that. And we learn that Quark's been skimming him. But anyway, before that happens, they get attacked by the Jem'Hadar. And in a minute, here we go. They get attacked by the Jem'Hadar, and they end up going into a gas giant or something, into the atmosphere of a gas giant to escape them. Dax and Bashir get stuck in a closet or an elevator. They get stuck in somewhere on the Defiant. I'm not exactly sure how big the Defiant is. I thought it was a pretty small ship, but they keep saying that it's got these decks. I don't know how many decks. It's got like 5 decks or something like that. I don't know. But so is it about the same size as the Enterprise NX-01? Because that had 5 decks, didn't it? I don't know. I thought it was a lot smaller. I thought it was essentially in between a runabout and, I don't know, a small starship. I thought it, wasn't very big. But anyway, it's got a shuttle bay. We've learned that. So it's obviously bigger than you think. Anyway, he and Quark have this. He doesn't like Quark, does whatever he's called. Hang on, I'm going to have to work out what his name is. Where are we? Starship Down. James Cromwell. Hannock. He doesn't like Quark, and he says, you will never trade with the Corrimer again and all that. But he says, no, don't throw away profit, etc. But they end up getting trapped. They're in the mess hall doing this, but they end up with a Jem'Hadar torpedo through the wall. There we go. All right, and Ben gets injured, and Kira has got to keep him alive because there's no Dr. Bashir because he's stuck. Remember, on another deck in a cupboard with Dax. So he's trying to keep Cisco going, and she's getting all upset about it because Cisco is essentially is like a mystical figure, isn't it, to the Bajorans? He's the emissary, which also gets an episode to itself later. But essentially, Worf takes command of the Defiant because he's next in charge, I suppose, or he's stuck down in engineering or whatever, and he's barking orders at all the engineering crew. And O'Brien tells him, don't be so hard on them. They're good engineers, but sometimes you've got to give them a bit of encouragement instead of this if you can't do it, I will find somebody who can. He's like that, And he's saying, come on, Mr. Worf, stop being a knob. And Worf says, okay. And he just says to him occasionally, well done, good job, and all that stuff. Anyway, so she's getting all upset, saying, you can't die, you're the emissary. They end up with the Jem'Hadar torpedoes in the wall, and Quark's got to try and defuse it. But it turns out that the Corrimer, the ones that sell the torpedoes to the Dominion, so he knows a bit about them. And anyway, Quark defuses it, and everything's okay. Obviously, Cisco doesn't die, and they all end up back at Deep Space Nine. Blah blah blah. The engineering crew, the young engineering crew, I think they're all like enlisted men, all O'Brien's men. Save the day, that they use a torpedo or something and destroy the Jem'Hadar ship so they can escape. And all that stuff. And and there we go. They all end up back at Deep Space Nine, as happy as Larry. There you go. So they're all right, and he's going to take her to see a baseball match on. Because we learned that they never, even though they're friends, Kira and Cisco, they never really socialised. So how did that come out like that? Socialised, never really socialised with each other outside of work. So he's going to change that. So they're off to watch a baseball match on the holosuite. Got to remember, don't call them holodecks. They're not holodecks on Deep Space Nine. They're holosuites, aren't they? Anywho, so there we go. A decent episode. Let's make sure we're still going. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Right, so, next episode. What we up to now? Right, what's next? Check my list. Little Green Men. This is the time travel one. I had this on VHS. I don't think I've got any of my Deep Space Nine VHSs left. I was an idiot and I threw out a lot of my VHS tapes, and I'm really angry with myself for doing it. I gave them like, I can't remember what I did with them. I think I gave them to my sister-in-law. She had a market stall. I think she sold them on her market stall. Anyway, whatever. Because I've got the DVDs by this point, but I wish I'd kept the VHSs now. In hindsight. Anyway, right, so this is the one where Nog is heading to Earth to join Starfleet Academy. And he's selling off all his worldly goods because he's heading out on his own. So he's selling off what he's got and he's going off. And this Worf buys his tooth sharpener. How much? Have you noticed Worf's got like Klingon top teeth but human bottom teeth? Look, his bottom teeth are fine. But anyway. I only found out who the general played in the original series recently. Which general? Shocked, I say. Which general are we on about? Is it in this episode? Oh, yes, it is, yes. I'm thinking, yes, it is, yes. When they get to Earth, we'll get to it, yes, I know who he is, yes. He's one of the space hippies. I forgot his name now. I know what you mean, yes. He's been in loads of stuff, hasn't he? But Charles Napier, that's the fella. Yes, he's in the original series, one of the space hippies. Herbert. Anyway, so he buys the tooth sharpener. How much? Obviously, Quark's not happy with his nephew joining Starfleet, but he loses more than his nephew. Anyway, he's got a Ferengi shuttle from his cousin Gala. So they're heading to Earth in that. But obviously, Quark's got other motives, and they're heading off, and he's got loads of something chemasite. I think it's chemasite, isn't it, in the cargo hold, which is illegal apparently in the Federation. But anyway, the crash lands. Something happens with the warp drive. I think it had been rigged by Gala because he wanted to kill Quark or something. And Rom saves the day because he's an amazing engineer. He says he comes up with some technobabble that makes no sense. He says if I route the warp power through the cargo bay, it'll ignite the chemasite and save us or whatever. It says, well, don't explain it to me, just do it. And that sends them back in time somehow. And the wake up, I say, the unconscious, that's what like my brain, they're unconscious and they wakes up. And they're in Roswell in 1947. It turns out the Roswell crash was Quark's shuttle. And here we are, so we're seeing lots of people. There's Charles Napier, who played the hippie fella in the original series, playing his his one-string guitar or whatever it was. It's terrible. Something to Eden. Is it Return to Eden or something like that? The episode, isn't it? Something like that. Anyway. So obviously they think they're aliens, and this is where we learned that Ferengi have universal translators in their ears for some reason, and somehow they work. If you've got a universal, it's like a Babel fish. They've also got Babel fishes in their ears, haven't they? Because it works both ways. You can understand what other people are saying, but they can also understand what you're saying. Don't know how that works, but that's what happens. The thing about Star Trek universal translators, how do they know when to translate and when not to translate? Because they're always saying things in other languages, You see Bajorans saying things in other languages and Klingons and all that. We're going Kapla. Why is the universal translator just automatically translating it? I don't know. But anyway, that's by the by. Anyway, it's a fun episode. It's a comedy episode, I suppose. They've got to try and find a way back to their shuttle to get back to the 24th century. Is it Colm Kelleher? Is that his name? No, it's Conor O'Farrell. Who's Colm Kelleher? Oh, yeah, I know he is. But what have I seen him in? I can't remember. And he hasn't got a Wikipedia page. Never mind. I've seen him in something else and I can't think what. Never mind. They could use Stargate rules. The Stargate, it's like the TARDIS. The TARDIS is a translation device, isn't it? The Stargate is a translation device. Anyway, I can't talk to them, and we see that to them, I don't know, I'll play it. I'll just play it because I think it sounds weird. That's what it sounds like to Ferengi when the translator's not working properly. Obviously, they get them working, and they do end up speaking to him. I've seen her in something else as well. What have I seen her in? She's got a very familiar face. Megan Gallagher. What have I seen her in? Let's have a look. She looks very. She's probably been in some other Star Trek, I imagine. Let's have a look. What have I seen her in? She's been in Deep Space Nine. Yes, Nurse Garland. That's who she plays here. Have I seen her in? Oh, she's been in Voyager. Lieutenant Jarin in Voyager. I don't say what episode. I don't remember a Lieutenant Jarin. It's been in 24 as well. So yeah, I've seen her about, I suppose. Yeah. Not being a Stargate though. Anyway. Anywho. Obviously she's nice, and they like her, and her and I forgot his name, Conor O'Farrell, whatever his name is, help them escape because they want to dissect them, the baddie soldiers, and they've got to find a way out. We learn that yes, Odo's there with them. He disguised himself as a dog that we saw earlier on. So he's there with them as well. Because he suspected that Quark was smuggling chemosite. She was the anti-hologram lady when the Doctor took over Seven's body. Can't remember. I know which episode you mean, but I can't remember. Anywho. So, they help them escape. There we go. So fun and games ensue, and they get back to their shuttle. And didn't they do a story? Did somebody write a book? I can't remember. The Reeve Stevens, didn't they write a book about Khan and how Khan stole the Botany Bay from Area 51 or wherever it were kept, and that were a prototype ship that were based on the technology that the information that they gleaned from the brief time that they had Quark's shuttle. I'm sure that was something like that, wasn't it? I don't know. I'm sure I saw it somewhere. I didn't read it because I've not read the book. So. Anyway, so they escape. There we go. They head off into the wide blue yonder, and they recreate the conditions of what got them back. Yes, they tied in Gary 7 as well. All right. I'm not ready, so I don't know. Where were we? Then they end up back in the 24th century, and everything's cool. And Nog goes off to Starfleet Academy, and it's a fun episode. If forgettable, not as much fun as I remembered. I used to love it. It was one of my favourite episodes. But this time round, I thought, yeah, I still like it, but not as good as I thought it was. But it's still fun. It is still a fun episode. Right, next up. What's next? Oh, look. Oh, it's, what's his face, isn't it? There he is. I forgot his bloody name. Koloth? No. Core, it's Core, isn't it? Yes, Core. I get them mixed up. Koloth's William Campbell, isn't it? This is John Colicos as Core. And who else we got in? Oh, it's where we see Toral reappears. But anyway, that's for later in the episode. Right, Core is on Deep Space Nine, and he's off to find the Sword of Kahless, which is like the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant for Klingons. It's the sword that Kahless used. That was, I don't know, how did he forge it? He took some of his hair and thrust it into some lava and forged his sword, his bat'leth, the first bat'leth or something. So it's like Excalibur as well, isn't it? It's Excalibur for Klingons, and he thinks he's learned where, cause it went missing, and he thinks he's learned where it is. So he ends up, Worf and Dax end up going with him on this mission, because Worf is kind of is a hero, is Core to Worf, and but anyway. So off they go, and it's somewhere in the Gamma Quadrant, I think, somehow. Somehow it's in I think it's the Gamma Quadrant. I could be wrong, I can't remember. Hang on, let's have a look. Where are we? Rum-to-tum-to-tum. Plot. Right, where are they going? Yes, it is the Gamma Quadrant. I think it was in the Gamma Quadrant, but yes, somehow it's ended up in the Gamma Quadrant. And it's something to do with the Herc, who were a species that conquered Kronos, the Klingon homeworld, thousands of years ago. But somehow they ended up in the Gamma Quadrant. Maybe they passed through the wormhole, I don't know. But anyway, off they go to search for it. They're allowed to take a runabout, and off they go. And they arrive at Star Trek Cave Set number 3. Here they are, beaming. And they go, they find the sword, and but somebody else is there. See, there's a baddie there. Look. Earlier on we saw him, what they call him, Lysepian or something, I can't remember. Just a minute. I've got to look it up. Lethian. It's a Lethian, not Lysepian, a Lethian. We saw one of them attack Bashir, probably last season, season 3 maybe, I don't know. The one where Bashir is running around the station in his head. One of them attacked him. They zap your head. They've got something that can... And he did that earlier to Core, to get the information about where the Sword of Kahless was. But it turns out he's working for Toral. Remember him? The brother, the young brother of Lursa and Batar, who, remember, are dead now in this, in this timeline, because they were killed when the Enterprise D also were destroyed. So now he's the only member of the House of Duras left. But anyway, there he is. Grown up. Tell you, they shoot up, don't they? These blooming Klingons. Tell you, he's all grown up now, look. And he were a kid in, when was it? Season 4. So it's only like, I don't know, been about 3-4 years or something like that. He's shot up, hasn't he? Anyway. Obviously, he wants the sword. They have a fight. I can't remember. I don't think they get the sword. Did they get the sword? Is it destroyed? I can't remember what they do with it. I genuinely can't remember what they do with the sword. Do they take it? They end up fighting the other Klingons. Genuinely can't remember what happens with it. We'll have to look it up. Yes, that's what they do. just read the plot on Wikipedia. I'd forgot. Because Worf and Core keep arguing about what they should do with the sword. Yes, Windgrace says they beam it into space. Yes, and they keep arguing about who deserves to wield the sword. But anyway, so yes, they end up back on the runabout. Look, that's them fighting over it. It's like the One Ring. They don't trust each other with it. But so they get back out. They defeat Toral. I think they just trap him. Do we see Toral again? I can't remember. But they get back to the runabout, and as Windgrace rightly said, they beam it into space. So it's floating about in space somewhere. There we go. They've done that. Look. Do we see it floating in space? I can't remember. As they fly away. Let's see. There it is. And it's floating away, and then somebody else might find it or something. I don't know. Is it ever seen again? Don't know. But anyways, that's the end of that episode. A fun episode. A romp with Klingons in it. And yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Passes the time, but it doesn't really accomplish anything. But anyway, next. What we up to next? Let's have a look. Just on sort of careless. Our man Bashir. Excuse me. Blimey, where did that come from? Our man Bashir. This is the James Bond one. Is it going to come on? There we go. Where Bashir is a James Bond-like character in the holosuite. I nearly said holodeck then. In the holosuite. It's all fun and games. Look, he thinks it's a James Bond type character fighting bad guys. And me. But in real life, by the way, Garak arrives and says, "Oh, this is very interesting." Blah blah blah. But in real life, something happens. In a minute. Blimey. Sorry, I just. Who was that? Don't know. Oh, crikey. She caught my eye. I've got to be honest. I wasn't paying much attention to this episode. What were I doing? I don't know. But I would think I was doing something else. I was probably playing cards or something on my phone. Or and I would just kept glancing up. Missed her, tell you. Anyway, where were we? In real life, something happened. There we go. There's an accident on the runabout, and they've got to beam the crew of the runabout. They've got to beam them into the transport buffer, into the holosuite buffer or whatever. They've got to put their transporter patterns. That's it, into the holosuite because that's the only place on the station that's got enough memory or something to hold them. So that's what they do. So you've got Kira, Cisco, O'Brien, and maybe Worf. I can't remember. I don't know. Or maybe not. I can't remember. Somebody else. I think there's 4 of them. I can't remember. Dax. Is it Dax? Or is Dax in there already? Can't remember. No, I think it's Kira, Dax, O'Brien, and Cisco. Maybe Worf as well. Whatever. Anyway, they end up becoming part of the holosuite program, usually as baddies. But also because of what's happened, it's turned off the holosuite safeties, obviously, so they could die in real life, and they've got to play out the adventure to its conclusion. And if something happens, and the characters that they don't know, by the way, Cisco and all them don't know that they're characters they think it's real. They don't know that they're Cisco and Kira and all them. But see, they're struggling to find a way to fix it. She's plays some Russian Natalia, somebody or other. I don't bloody know. I can't remember. Anastasia Kamenov is Kira. Jadzia is Honeybear, Professor Honeybear. Cisco is Dr. Noah. Worf is Duchamp, and excuse me, and Miles O'Brien is the assassin Falcon. So it's all fun and games, but not really, because they could really die. So they've got to, find out a way to save the day and not kill anybody. And it's all fun. Somebody's being stabbed. I think it's her with the big boobs. She got killed. Thankfully, she was just a holosuite character. There's Worf. He's supposed to be, I think he's supposed to be like in Casino Royale, Le Chiffre. I think he's supposed to be like that, isn't he? Anyway, so they work it all out. Cisco's been a Bond villain in his lair. He's got a laser or something that is going to blow the world up with or whatever. And they work it all out and all that stuff and save the day. And it's all fun and games. And there we go. They get them back out. And yeah, whatever. A fun episode, even though I wasn't really paying much attention to it. And I wish I had now. I might watch it again. But anyway. So there we go. I'm looking. I don't know. But anyway. Right, so yeah. Our Man Bashir. Does it? I think they do another one, don't they? Do they? I'm sure they do. Do they do another one like this in the later season? I can't remember. Maybe they do. But anyway, yeah, it's okay. It's fun. Right, moving on. What's next? Next episode is, alright, we've got a two-parter coming up. Homefront, followed by Paradise Lost. Two good episodes where we go back to Earth. And this is one of those things that kind of annoys me a bit sometimes about Star Trek. We learn that the wormhole is like randomly opening and closing. They don't know why, and no ships are coming through that they can tell. They do not. Only a brief segment. They were sued for having permission to use. Well, technically they didn't, did they? It was just Bond-like, wasn't it? You know, could have been Our Man Flint for all we knew, or whatever. But anyway, I thought they did another episode. Like I said, I might be thinking of a brief segment. Anyway, I was probably thinking of the bar, not the bar. You know, I forgot the bloody call it now. Anyway, whatever. Right, this one, Homefront. The wormhole's opening and closing randomly. They don't know why. No ships are coming through as far as they can tell. They don't know what's going on, so that's a mystery in itself. They did the casino heist, but it was Vic. Yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of. That might be Vic Fontaine. Yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of. Anyway, what happens? There's like an attack on Earth. I think it's on Earth. There's like a meeting. Here we go. With various people, Romulans and all this, and different people, and the Federation. And a bomb goes off and kills all these delegates. But we learn that there's as it shows here, as this fellow walks past, that vase, or is it an urn? I don't know. It's a changeling. Did that changeling die then? I don't know. But they're a changeling on Earth, so he goes back to Earth, does Cisco. And this is what kind of gets me mad sometimes with Star Trek. Sorry, I'm getting a bit hoarse. How far away is Bajor from Earth? I'm going to have to look it up. How far is Bajor from Earth? Because it does me head in. 52 light years. Oh, it's actually closer than I thought, to be honest. I thought it were a long way away, a lot further. No, it doesn't. Hang on. Another one here said 300 light years. I have no idea. It says 52 there. It seems like we don't know. Yeah, people keep saying 52 light years. But it says other people are saying between 220 and 380 light years. I don't think there's any answer, is there? Excuse me. What does it say on Memory Alpha? Does it say here how far away it is? I bet it don't. Bet it doesn't. Stellar cartography. What does it say there? I was thinking it was like a long way away because we learn in Star Trek 6, yeah, that the Klingon Empire is 1,000 light years. The border of the Klingon Empire is 1,000 light years from Earth. Because he says it, doesn't he? There's Kirk, because they have Romulan ale, and he says one of the privileges of being 1,000 light years from Earth. And in that I'm thinking, well, it'd take over a year to get there at, maximum warp. Sometimes we start, it gets me cross because they do a lot of the what they're doing Star Wars and all, and what J.J. Abrams likes to do. They don't show travel times, and it'd take a while. I suppose even at 52 light years, it'd take them several days, wouldn't it, at least, to get to Earth. But anyway, whatever. I thought it were a lot further than that. But anyway, whatever. So it goes back to Earth. There's Cisco, and I think he takes Jake with him, does he? Yes, he takes Jake with him. So off they go to Earth. There we go. They take Odo because he's knows all about changelings, and this is where we're going to meet. I probably missed him. Where is he? All right, we meet Joseph Cisco, Ben's dad, who looks a lot like I forgot his name now. Speaking of Star Trek 6, Admiral what's his face from Star Trek 6. Have another drink of water. Oh dear. He was a baddie, wasn't he, in Star Trek 6, and I'm blanking on his name. But in here is Joseph Cisco, Jake's dad, who is not dead. I think the only reference we'd had him to before, sorry, my voice is going. The only reference we'd had to him before, I think, was in season 3, or it could have been season 2, I can't remember, but Ben says something to somebody about his dad, and he said something like, he was ill right up until the end, or something like that. So you thought, oh, is his dad dead? It turns out he's not, but we learn he has been ill, that and he's not well. He won't listen to his doctors and all that stuff. But anyway, that's they're all having fun and games in the family restaurant at Cisco's restaurant. And anyway, Nog's a cadet. He wants to get into Red Squad, which is the I presume the new version of Nova Squad. So a Nova Squad disbanded, I don't know, but Red Squad. Turns out Cisco's never heard of them, so they must be new. Anyway, there's Admiral somebody or other, Robert Foxworth, and he's a baddie because it's Robert Foxworth, Admiral Layton. Brock Peters, that's who he is. Brock Peters, Joseph Cisco. Maybe he changed time in past tense and saved his dad. Yes, maybe. Yes, could be. Could be, because they're all faffing about, aren't they, with the timeline. Who knows what damage those Ferengi did as well a few episodes past. Obviously, he'd never realise, would he, that the timeline had changed. But we notice, us observers, because we're godlike. Anyway, they've got to advise the president of the Federation. There he is. I forgot his name as well. Hang on. Where's it telling us his name? It isn't bloody telling us. Never mind. Can't remember his name. Got a weird name. He's the president of the Federation, and they're saying they should have unlimited powers on basically martial law. They want martial law on Earth. There's the Admiral, and Ben Sisko is kind of behind that as well. He says, because changelings can be dangerous. If there's changelings on Earth, anything could happen. And he's saying, we can't do it. It's not democratic and all that stuff. We don't do that sort of thing. Earth is a paradise, and he doesn't want to be the president that destroyed paradise and all that stuff. But anyway, so there we go. And as the story goes on, I think is it this one? Yes, Odo comes across Admiral Leighton, and this is Commander Benteen, his adjutant or his aide or whatever. And he's suspicious of this admiral here. And it turns out that that's a changeling, because he grabs hold of him. Here we go, look. Ah! And he turns into a bird and flies away, look. Whee! So, as we learn that there are still changelings knocking about on Earth. And is that Leah Brahms? I'm wondering now. I've got to check now. It is, isn't it? Yeah, it's Leah Brahms, isn't it? So she's... So what does Geordie know that she's now in Starfleet? She's not just designing engines. She's also got another identity. Whatever. Anyway, you know, humans all look the same, don't we? Anyway, first time I've noticed that. I've watched it and not, it's not twigged until just now. Anyway, so it turns out that they've got to do blood tests on all Starfleet members and their families, and Joseph Sisko doesn't want to submit to a blood test because he's being stubborn. And it's not just that though, because it's all about his human rights and his right to refuse, blah blah blah. And Ben kind of gets a bit iffy with him, and saying, "Come on, Ben, this isn't right," and all that. And Ben saying, "But if you've got nothing to hide." It's that old chestnut. If you've got nothing to hide, you've nothing to worry about. So that's not the point. Anyway, cuts himself. And Ben goes to the blood and he says, "Benjamin Lafayette Sisko, what are you doing?" And, "I don't know. For a minute I thought you might be a changeling." And then he has some sort of, I think he has a stroke, doesn't he? He collapses and it turns out he's had a mini stroke. And Ben's like saying, "Oh, he just had a mini stroke." Just. It's 24th century, I suppose, but anyway. So he's wondering, what to do next. But then all the power goes out on Earth, because there's just one power station apparently on Earth. All the lights go out. There's no option now as the president to authorise martial law, and they start beaming security teams all over the place. Admiral Leighton's essentially in charge of Earth now. He's Palpatine, so to speak. And that's how the first episode ends, with Earth, beaming security officers onto the back lot. And then we move on to Paradise Lost, which is the second part. Sisko has suspicions about what happened, this power going out, the safeguards and all that stuff. How did it happen? How would a changeling manage to knock out all the power on Earth? Obviously, they get it back on again. And he calls in the leader of Red Squad, because I think he finds, I think Odo's doing his investigations as well. And then they find reference to Red Squad or something. Red Squad beamed into where the power station is or something. I hate when I lose my pair of dice. I've said something again, haven't I? Anyway. So he's suspicious, is Ben. So he calls him in, and it turns out it was a false flag operation and all that. Admiral Leighton had them beam in, had Red Squad beam in, sabotage the power thing, and then beam out again. Obviously, they're all thinking they're doing, sterling work. They don't think they're doing bad things. But so he knows now that Admiral Leighton is the bad guy. He's not a changeling. We know he's not a changeling anymore because they're all being tested and stuff. But he's kind of become corrupt. He wants power, or he's become corrupt, but he doesn't want to give up power and all that. As I said, he's Palpatine. Sisko has a chat with O'Brien, except it's a changeling, and it turns out there's only, is it 3? I think it says there's only 3 changelings on Earth right now. And that's 3 too many, really, isn't it? But it says, it's nothing to do with us, what's going on. But anyway. So they've got to foil Leighton's plans, and the Defiant is on its way to Earth because they've got proof of something. Can't remember what. Oh, yes, the wormhole. The wormhole, remember, were closing and opening and closing randomly. And, excuse me. And they found out that in the Gamma Quadrant, excuse me, Leighton had planted like some sensor or transponder or something that triggered the wormhole randomly to make it look as though the Dominion were trying to invade or whatever. I'd become corrupt if I accidentally got trapped here and not the Babylon 5 universe. And yeah, and he also played a Vulcan, the leader of the Vulcans in Enterprise, didn't he? He were a baddie in that as well. But yes, he was a general in something in Babylon, something like that, wasn't it? Anyway. So the Defiant, as proof of that, that were all Starfleet's doing or he's doing. So they're on their way to Earth with the proof. So he's going to send the USS something or other. I can't remember which ship it was. Hang on. Let's have a look. He sends that it's a souped up thingamabob class. Where are we? The USS Lakota. What class is it? I'm blanking. I tell you, I'm an idiot. I am. Anyway, you know what I am. They send that under the command of Leah Brahms. Oh, that's not. I forgot a bloody name already. Bentine. There. You think she'd have? Why don't she have something? You think she'd have something done with that mole on top lip, wouldn't it? But anyway. Yes, they try and rig. They try and make out that Ben is a changeling. Obviously, he isn't. So they put him in prison because he's a baddie. Obviously, he gets out. Obviously, I'm trying to remember the bloody class that the Lakota is. He's super fit. Excelsior class. Yeah, we've got there. There we go. So they get out and they foil his plans. The Defiant fights off the Lakota. Bentine turns on him. He orders the Lakota to destroy the Defiant. Obviously, she doesn't. She turns on him. So, it's all over. It's all over him. And he'll probably get drummed out to Starfleet and sent to that penal colony in New Zealand or whatever. I don't know what they'll do with him. But anyway, so there we go. And leaves his pips on the table, and everything's lovely. They goes back home, and they beam back up to the Defiant and head back to Deep Space Nine. And Earth is saved, but there's still changelings on Earth. But, what can you do? Just got to put up with it, haven't you? Don't need martial law. A good two-parter is that. Homefront and Paradise Lost. Excuse me, tell you, I'm getting very hoarse, aren't I? Anyway, next. What's next? Where are we? What episode? Because we're only halfway. Crossfire. Which is this one? Which is this one? Yeah, we're safe forever, and there will never be a burn. There never was, because Discovery's not canon. Anyway, where were we? Yes, Crossfire. This is one where Odo is in love with. I think we'd found out, hadn't we, that was it last season where he ended up with a changeling. He thought it was Kira, and he told the changeling that we thought were Kira that he loved her. And but obviously he still loves her, but he don't want to spoil their friendship or not by professing his love. But he's getting ready for their morning security briefing. He's very he's setting his routines, gets everything ready. She comes in, they're all very happy and lovely. There we go. Got the Ractagino ready. But in this episode, it turns out she falls in love with Shakar, First Minister Shakar. This is when he's not being a ghost shagging Beverly Crusher in a minute when we see him. There he is. He's the First Minister of Beja. Obviously, he and Kira fall in love, and Odo's not happy about it. But, he bites his lip and gets through it, and all that. And that's pretty much all that happens in this episode. I think it's not it's a bottle episode, isn't it? Really, to be honest, it's all set on the station. They get trapped in an elevator. I can't remember what happens. Somehow they get trapped in that elevator. Was there a assassination attempt? Something like that. Can't remember. Anyway. So there we go. Odo's got new quarters, by the way. Did we see these last season? I can't remember. But anyway, like slithering about. Yes, he got angry, smashed up his quarters because obviously she's in love with Shakar, not in love with Odo. So he smashed up his quarters and made his hair go all weird, even though he's a changeling, but never mind. And ends up getting some words of advice from Quark. Anyway, and I think she kind of knows that Odo's in love with her, but she don't want to acknowledge it, so to speak. She don't want to spoil their friendship either. But obviously, at some point in the future, they end up being a couple, which I didn't like. But anyway, never mind. And they're still in love, whatever. Flaunting it in front of Odo, because they don't care, because they're evil people. That's the end, yeah. Whatever. It's not a great episode. But it's René Auberjonois, and he's a great actor, and it's he carries it, doesn't he? So, what can I say? It's not the best episode, but it's always nice to see René doing acting stuff. Right, what's next? Return to Grace, which is this one. Yes, this is the one with Kira and Ducat again. We get a few Kira and Ducat episodes, don't we, this season? So we learned that Ducat lost his position. He was the military advisor to the Detapa Council, the civilian government on Cardassia. But he's lost that position because of Zial. His wife's left him, taken the kids and left him. And now he's still a gull. They haven't demoted him, but he's now captain of a Cardassian freighter. And hang on, where are we? What's up with her? Can't remember what's up with her. I'm trying to think now. What's up with her here? No, she throws. Yes, that's it. She's having vaccines, injections because she's going somewhere, where the diseases and stuff. So he's giving her all these injections, vaccines and stuff. And they make her sick. That's it. I was thinking, hang on, we haven't got to the pregnancy bit yet. But no, she goes running off to be sick. There you go. So here she ends up on Ducat's ship. I can't remember where she's going. I've forgotten. I'm going to have to look it up. I can't bloody remember. It's going to a conference regarding the Klingon threat. Right, fair enough. We've got the same Zial as we got last episode. Not last time we saw her, by the way. But I think she does change. The actress changes. So, there you go. She's meeting Zial again. But they come across... there we go. A Klingon bird of prey. And it attacks them. And she uses her technical expertise of when she was a rebel against the Cardassians during the occupation. She helps Dukat basically capture the Klingon bird of prey. They beam the Klingons to the freighter, beam themselves over to the bird of prey, and then then Gul Dukat destroys the freighter, and says, because he's all about gaining his position. He'll return to grace, gaining his position back, and anyway, so that's what that's all about, and there we go. Now Gul Dukat's got a Klingon bird of prey, which we'll see. I don't think we see it again this season. I don't think, but I think we see it at the beginning of season 5. But anyway, so does she get to a conference? Can't remember. Don't really care. Oh, I think Dukat lets Kira take Zial back to the station, so she's going to live on Deep Space Nine, where she'll be, reasonably safe. So there we go. So she just stay there, and I don't know if next time she's played by somebody else. Next time we see her, might not be. Can't remember. Her face does change, so I think she's played by somebody else. Anyway, so the Return to Grace, not a bad episode. It's always good to see Mark Alamos, Gul Dukat. Yes, I think it's the first time we see Damar. Yes, we see Damar. I forgot his name now. Biggs. Not Biggs Darklighter. Casey Biggs as Damar, yes. Yes, the first time we see him. So there we go. Right. So next up, Sons of Moog. Don't like this one. I don't like this one. Even though it's got Tony Todd in, returning as Kern, not as Jake Sisko, old Jake Sisko. But I should have just killed him and lived with it. But Kern goes to Deep Space Nine. I think we also see kind of the start of a blossoming romance with Worf and Dax, or at least a close friendship. Remember, they do end up getting married, but I think that's way down the line, isn't it? I think it's season 6. I think they get married, don't they? Anyway, Kern comes to the station. We've got to deal with a drunken Klingon, and it turns out it's Kern. There he is. Remember, his Worf's brother. Terry could have fixed this in Picard season 3. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But Kern has come to the station because he doesn't want to live anymore. Because Worf is essentially, an idiot. And he just puts his own honour above everything else. Because he turned against Gowron in Way of the Warrior. He fought against Gowron, he wouldn't. Gowron says, "Join us for this glorious battle," and Worf says, "No, I can't." And he says, "Well, if you don't come with us, you will be dishonoured, and I will seize your lands and your family assets and everything." And Kern had a seat on the Klingon High Council, and he'll be kicked out. So that's what's happened, basically. The House of Moog is no more. And Kern is disgraced as well, because Worf's a stubborn bloody idiot. But anyway. And he wants Worf to end his life, because he can't kill himself, I think, because then he wouldn't go to Sto-Vo-Kor. He has to have an honourable death. And Worf is prepared to do that. I can't remember the name of the ritual. See if it says. On here. But it doesn't. Rum-ti-tum-ti-tum, tiddly-pum-pa-pum, ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum, doesn't say. But he wants Worf to kill him. It's called a ritual or whatever. And Worf obliges. He stabs him with a knife, obviously. But Dax realises what's going on. What they're doing in the runabout, can't remember, but they're in the runabout doing stuff. I don't know what. I'm going to have to look that up as well. What's the B story? That's it, yes. The Klingons are up to stuff near Bajoran space with cloaked vessels and the mining the borders with cloaked mines. That's what they're doing. Which isn't the last time we see cloaked mines in Deep Space Nine. Anyway, she realises what's going on, and she goes and saves Kern at the last minute. There we go. She goes running in, and he has done the deed as Worf, just as Kern wanted, give him his honourable death. But she comes in just in time and says, "Be directly to sick bay, medical emergency," and all that stuff. And they save Kern's life. And obviously Cisco's not happy. And Worf is always like, "I was doing, what was perfectly normal with Klingon traditions." Shut up! You're a Starfleet officer. So he plays pop with him. And all that jazz. So he says, it won't happen again. And I bloody know it won't. So they got to find, so they think they've got to find something for Kern to do, because he's dishonoured. But, he needs a job. So Odo takes him on in his security detail. Obviously, he doesn't want to do that either. He wants to die, this Kern. So he basically gets himself shot on purpose. And little kinky boots, which I'd never noticed that Kira wears. Anyway, whatever. He gets himself shot. So Odo says he's got a death wish. He's going to be a danger to himself and everybody, so he's not part of my team. So he has another idea. There's, I think it's Dax maybe has the idea in a bit. What do they do? Oh, yes. First off, they've got to go on a mission first. I just remembered. They've got to go on a mission first. They're going to beam over to a Klingon ship, get some information. I think it's about the cloaked mines and all that stuff. I can't remember. And then beam back again, and there we go. They've got to be Klingons and all that. But anyway, the upshot of it is he's still thinking of topping himself. He's going to shoot himself. But, what they do instead, they wimp out, and it kind of does me head in. Because I don't think we ever see him again. Do we ever see Kern again? I don't think we do. What they do is they change his cranial ridges so he looks different. Bashir erases his memory. He knows his Klingon. He can speak the language. It doesn't matter. He'll have universal translator, but whatever. Speak the language. He knows his Klingon, but he won't know who he is or any other memories. And he says it'll be permanent. There's no going back. So what they're going to do? Worf has a friend who is from a lesser known house, but honourable, and he's going to take him in and say he's his son. So that's what they're going to do. So there you go. So he goes to live with these other Klingons. "You are my son." So I says, "Okay, Dad, see ya." And he says, "Oh, who are you? Are you part of our family?" "I have no family." And don't mention Alexander on Earth, but never mind. I don't think he's ever liked Alexander, has he? He just puts up with him. And that's it, the end. The end of that episode. I don't like that episode. I think he should have just let him kill Kern and just live with it. Live with all the problems that might have brought up down the line. Should have got a reprimand off Cisco, maybe even a demotion back down to lieutenant, and they had to work back up to be lieutenant commander again, maybe in time for next season or the season after or whatever, because that would have been interesting in itself, because then you'd have had Dax ordering him about, but they didn't. They wimped out like they always do, and didn't like that episode. So, and I don't think we see Kern again. I don't think we do. Next, we've got the Defiant. What's the next episode? Let's have a look. What we up to? Oh, Bar Association. This is one I'll be shouting at again. Oh dear. Because I think Rom quotes Karl Marx. I think it's Karl Marx. Karl Marx quotes. Let me check. Yes, it is. Yes, it is Karl Marx. Workers of the world unite. Yes. Anyway, this episode is the one where Quark's staff on Deep Space Nine form a union. So they've had enough of his shenanigans, because he's Ferengi, obviously, so he just wants to make a profit. Doesn't care about, his staff or anything. So they form a union and go on strike. So that's what they do. And I forgot the bloody name now. Rom. Rom has got an ear infection, and it's where we learn that Quark doesn't give him sick pay and all that stuff. So he gets the idea of forming a union from Bashir. Says you should form a union, and stand up for workers' rights and all that stuff. So that's what he does. So there you go. So they go on strike and all that. O'Brien says, "Yeah, I'm all for that," because there were an O'Brien that were in an industrial dispute, and he gave his life for the workers and all that stuff. So anyway, so they stand up to Quark, but obviously it gets the attention of the Ferengi Commerce Authority, and I think is it Brunt they're sending? I'll have to check it, aren't I? Gonna have to check. Yes, they send Jeffrey Coombs as Brunt to sort it all out. Obviously, Quark's not going to give in to their demands, but there we go. Brunt arrives and tells them they'll all be fired and all that stuff. I don't know what the B story is, by the way. There must be a B story. What's the other one? In a subplot, see the B story, Worf is uncomfortable. He decides he's going to move onto the Defiant, which I think he stays on the Defiant for the rest of his tenure, I think, maybe. Anyway, probably until he marries Dax. Anyway, the upshot of the episode, Rom quotes Karl Marx, which is "Workers of the world unite." Pinko commie Ferengis. But anyway, and Quark finally accedes to their demands as long as they go back to work. And then Rom decides he's not going to work for him anymore. Because Brunt had him beaten up. He goes back to. They all go back to work, but now they've got holidays and sick pay and all that stuff. But Rom has decided he's not going to work in the bar anymore. He's working for O'Brien as an engineer. So there we go. So now Nog is at Starfleet. He's working for as one of O'Brien's Bajoran engineers, because he's not got a Starfleet uniform on. But anyway, so there we go. So that's that episode. It's fine. It isn't really. It's a bit poo, but never mind. Next. Next up, what is the next one? Let's have a look. Are we getting there? Accession. This is the one where Cisco can finally get rid of being the emissary. Right, here we go. Keiko O'Brien is coming back to the station after, I think, nearly a year away or something. She's coming back to the station, so O'Brien's got to tidy up their quarters because he's been living the life of a bachelor and it's all untidy. So he's got to tidy up. But anyway, here they're at the back are Molly and Keiko. And we learn that she's preggers. So I'm guessing, it does say, last time she was back at the station, we only did it once. So that's all it takes, because obviously Chief O'Brien's a manly stud. Just needs one go. And Justin's here. Hello, everyone, he says. Hello, Justin. Welcome. We're nearly done. Well, not really. So we learn she's expecting a baby, which is going to cause problems later on. But anyway. Right, so there's that. What else? Yes, something comes through the wormhole. Here it comes. A Bajoran solar sailing ship from, I think, 300 years in the past comes through the wormhole. And the being the occupant aboard, who is a Bajoran, obviously, forgotten his name, what's he called? Akorum Lan, 200 years ago. He disappeared. And he says he's the emissary. Wakes up, he says, I am the emissary. because he saw the profits. He went into the wormhole, saw the profits. He was injured. They fixed him, sent him back, and he thinks he's the emissary. They never told him of them. That's how he's interpreted his experience, that he's the emissary of the prophets. And Cisco's fine with it. Like, yeah, fine. I don't have to be a religious figure anymore, because Starfleet were never happy with that anyway. But he's kind of a bit put out. But he's saying, fair enough. But it turns out that he's a bit of a knobhead, is this Akorum Lan, because he's an old-fashioned, and he wants them to go back to the old Bajoran caste system, where if you're born into certain families, you've got to do certain jobs. Turns out that Kira is supposed to be from like an artistic family, so she's got to go into the arts. And some people are willing to do it, some people aren't. But he's sticking to his guns, and he's convinced Kai Wynn to go along with him, and it causes problems because this other fella, where is it? We saw him back here. I don't know his name. Where is it? Him. Where is he? Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh. How was him? Him there. I don't even know what he is. Does it say his name? Hang on. Is he Vedek Porter? There we go. Played by Robert Simmons. I didn't know what I didn't know his hat. Never seen any of these hats. Vedek Bareil never wore a hat like that, but anyway, whatever. It's Vedek Porter. He killed somebody because they were of a lower caste, so that causes problems. They take him away. Cisco keeps having these visions of the prophets. They keep asking him, "Who are you?" A bit like the Babylon 5. They're trying to remind him that he's the emissary. So anyway, so he decides to take Akorum Lan on a runabout. That's him that's just killed somebody. So they say, take him away. So he goes into a holding cell. He says, right, we've got to sort this out once and for all. The only way we can find out who the emissary is to go and ask the prophets. So he says, all right, fair enough. So off they go into the wormhole. Talk to the prophets. Turns out the Cisco is the emissary, not the other one. They just fixed him and sent him back. That's all they did. They didn't say were the emissary or anything. So they go back. All right. Well, no. Cisco goes back, but they decide to send Akorum Lan back in time to his own time. So they've changed the timeline, sort of. So he goes back, and nobody's saying. But you'd think it'd like put Bajor in chaos again, wouldn't it? Because you know what the Bajorans are like. Bajorans. Because I imagine there'd be a lot of people that had agreed with Akorum Lan and what he wanted to do and thought he was the emissary. And now, to them, it's like Cisco's killed him or whatever, because he went into the wormhole with him and came back without him. And the prophets sent him back in time. So how can you prove that? It turns out they can prove it because he went back in time and finished an unfinished poem, because he was a poet previously. So they've changed the timeline. And she says, does Kira, she says, if the timeline's changed, how do we remember what it was like when he wasn't, when he was stuck in the wormhole, this unfinished poem? So it's basically, it's a massive Mandela effect that's happened, or something. But anyway. But he's the emissary again, and now Bajorans are coming up and saying, bless us, emissary. So he goes, yeah, whatever, bless. And knocks them on the head. Chronotons, is that the answer for all time travel stuff? Just to say, I always enjoyed the emissary-themed episodes, but this episode, and going forward, it was problematic for me. It was the beginning of Cisco's fall for me. Oh, crikey. Justin's not happy with this episode, is he? But, yeah, they shouldn't have sent him back. in time, I don't think. He should have come back and he should have just said, I'm not the emissary, I was mistaken. But anyway, they just got rid of him, didn't they? Like they got rid of Worf's brother. Anyway, so there we go. Right, so anyway, that's the end of that episode. So he is the emissary again. Yeah, fine. Next! Sorry about my voice. Winger says, I don't like the whole Par Wraith edition coming up. I didn't mind the Par Wraiths. I suppose, they're like the Ori, aren't they? that we saw in Stargate, I suppose. Too cliche. Like the Ori. Did you not like the Ori either, Windgrace? I didn't mind him. It's like the negative version of the prophets, aren't they? Because where you've got good, you've got to have evil and matter and antimatter and all that stuff, whatever. Anyway, what's this episode that we're up to? Rules of engagement. All right, there's this one. Right, this is the courtroom one, another LeVar Burton episode. Worf is on trial because they were in the command of the Defiant and destroyed a Klingon. They were in the midst of battle, protecting some ships. I think some Cardassian freighters or something. They came under attack from Klingons. And he opened fire on a decloaking Klingon ship, and it turned out to be a freighter that had loads of passengers on. So now he's on trial for that. So there we go. So yeah, so he's on trial. So it's like the drumhead sort of, and it is good. It's interesting. 'Cause I like courtroom dramas and stuff. It's interesting, and obviously they've got to prove that Worf were innocent. And they do enough because the Klingons were up to stuff. Justin says, I love Sisko. The last 2 seasons, it was frustrating for me. Okie dokie. I've not really paid that much attention, to be honest. It's kind of always been the same all the way through for me, apart from his hair and his beard. But anyway. They got to, it turns out that the Klingons were being, up to shenanigans, and that the people on the freighter, this were all, a ploy by the Klingons to make it look as though the Federation had killed all these innocent Klingon people, and so the Federation would lose its support in the eyes of the rest of the galaxy, and. So anyway, they end up proving that because Odo does his detectiving, but it turns out, and Worf gets off. He's found innocent, but technically he's not innocent though, because he didn't follow the rules of engagement, and he gets a chewing out for it at the end by Sisko. Sisko says, "You got lucky." And he's playing number with him here. He says, "You got lucky." It says, you know what you should have done. You don't open fire until you have a positive identification. On what you're shooting at. That's the Starfleet way. And you're lucky you didn't get drummed out of Starfleet. Blah blah blah. So although Worf got off. He's under a bit of a cloud still. He's always... His tenure on Deep Space Nine, he was always getting into trouble, wasn't he? More so than he did in Next Generation. I think it's because it's more volatile workspace, isn't it, is Deep Space Nine than a starship, which they do reference quite often, I must admit. This isn't a starship. But anyway, yeah, it's a good episode, is that, because it's a courtroom drama, and I like courtroom dramas, so there we go. Right, but he still gets to command the Defiant. But anyway, what's this? Is this another one that another really really good one? Hard Time. This is the one where O'Brien kind of does a inner light sort of thing. Oh, but hang on. Justin says, but this showed me Klingons could be very dishonourable. Yeah, but we all know that, don't we? Worf pulled a Kirk shoot first. Yes, he did. But he shouldn't have done. He shouldn't have opened fire before he, identified his target. But were he right or wrong? Who knows? It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, isn't it? It was a chaotic encounter, wasn't it? Because they're in the middle of battle and they just saw something. Why would a freighter be cloaked anyway and just decloak in the middle of a battle? They do mention that in the episode, but he still got a chewing out, didn't he? But anyway, this one, hard time. O'Brien has served 20 years in prison on an alien planet. Can't remember the name of the planet. Hang on. Does it say? Just a minute. Argratha, the planet Argratha. Don't know where that is. Is it in the Gamma Quadrant? Dunno. Or is it in our quadrant? Dunno. But he served 20 years in prison for espionage, and there he is, an old man drawing in the sand on the floor, and then say, "You can go home now. You've served your time." And he's an old man, so off he goes. You can tell he's old. Looks like Cat Weasel. Or it looks a bit like, kind of reminds me a bit like Commander Reinhardt from the Black Hole. When he's floating about in the black hole before he ends up inside Maximilian. Kind of looks like him there. Anyway, so going back to Deep Space Nine, but it turns out he's not really served 20 years. There we go. He wakes up and it's all in his head. Kind of like the Inner Light, with Picard and that. So it's like 20 years of memories in his head. And this episode is about him coming to terms with those memories, even though, they're not real memories, but they're real to him, and he keeps having hallucinations and all that stuff of things that didn't really happen, but to him they really happened. And it's a really good episode, and he plays a really good part in it. There's Colin Meaney, and it's all about, how prison changes a man and isolation changes you and all that stuff. This is where Cisco's explaining to Keiko that he'll need, loads of support and all that stuff. Anyway, so we keep having flashbacks to his time in prison, and he made a friend. Can't remember his name. Hang on. Eachar. Craig Wasson as Eachar. What have I seen Craig Wasson in? The name rings a bell. What have I seen him in? Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. He played the Doctor in that, didn't he? So he was his cellmate for pretty much all of the 20 years, apart from, I think he says, the last 2 weeks or something like that. But they've become best friends, obviously. I don't think he ages, does he, Char, all in those 20 years, but O'Brien does. But anyway, he can't get over it. He knows it didn't really happen, but he can't, get the memories out of his mind. And he keeps seeing Eachar on the stage. And obviously, it's all in his head, and it's it's obviously affected him psychologically. And he gets angry and stuff and lashes out at people. And he ends up wanting to self-delete. And, he's basically got to rely on his friends and his family. Look, he's freaking out there. Look, he's smashing stuff up. So he can't cope, and I think he's going to get a phaser. He's basically he puts it on full, so he's going to vaporise himself. But Bashir stops him, catches him, and says, And I think in this episode, I'm filling up again. Because it's all about friendship and all that, and that stuff like that always sets me off. And he says, you've got friends and family. And we learned that he killed Eachar. Is everybody's... Whenever anybody, on that system, in Argratha, or whatever it's called, is it the same for everybody? Do they all have an Eachar? Is it... I don't know, but anyway. Will said they do. Maybe they do. But anyway, he killed Eachar over something and nothing. I think some food, he'd been hiding. And he kills him. And... He can't get over that. He says, he's changed. He's not the same man. He's horrible. And humans like to think that we've evolved, beyond murder and all that stuff. But when push comes to shove, we're still animals and all that. But he says, you've got friends, etc. And by next week he's fine. It's never mentioned again. But it is a great episode. I like that episode. And it always sets me off with the waterworks because I'm a big softy. Next. What's next? Let's have a look. What episode are we up to? Episode 20. Oh, Shattered Mirror. We're back in the Mirror Universe for this one. I'm not a big fan of the Mirror Universe episodes, but whatever. Is this the last Mirror Universe episode we have in Deep Space Nine? I think it is, isn't it? I think this is the last one. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Anywho, let's make sure we're still going. Down there. Yes, we are. Right. Another glorious day on Deep Space Nine on the promenade. Right. Jake's missing Nog, by the way. Jake's missing Nog, but because he's away at the academy. Right, so he goes home, does Jake, and he sees his dad talking to his mother. In a minute, there we go. Jennifer's there, and this is where we learn that it's Jennifer from the Mirror Universe. She's come to see Cisco and Jake and all that because she's, I don't know. We learn that the rebels have taken control. The Terrans have taken control of Deep Space. Sorry, Terok Nor. It's called Terok Nor, isn't it? Justin says, "I love the mirror stuff. Kira's best work. She looks very, very slinky, doesn't she?" Season 7 has a mirror. What does it? Oh, right. We'll see. I thought this was the last one. I can't remember. Anyway. Right, so anyway, the upshot of it is, I think she takes, essentially kidnaps Jake. She takes him back to the Mirror Universe. So obviously Ben's not happy about it. So he's going to take a team. There we go. He's going to take a squad back to the Mirror Universe. I don't know how he's got this, but anyway, maybe she left it for him. I think she did. And he's going to use the transporter to beam over. There we go. O'Brien and Kira going with him, but they all beam out. Look, or they don't. Just Cisco goes. Anyway, basically, the building themselves are defiant. I'm a big Kira guy. She's a handsome woman. She still is, by the way. I met her at a convention. She's very what's the word? Charismatic. She's got like a glow about her as Nana visitor. But anywho, there we go. Smiley O'Brien is in charge now on Terok Nor. And he wants Cisco to build. They're building their own Defiant, and he wants him to help. We learn that the Regent is on his way, and the Regent we learn is Worf. There we go. He's got Baddie Garak captured. The Intendant, Kira, she's in a holding cell on Terok Nor. Mirror O'Brien was great. But it was just the same, wasn't it? I thought everybody in the Mirror Universe was supposed to be evil. He didn't even have a goatee, did he? But Mirror O'Brien is just exactly the same, pretty much, as our O'Brien. But anyway, whatever. So he's on his way with his big ship, and he's going to attack Terok Nor, take it back. And but another thing. Is she Dax in this? Or is she... Oh, I looked it up. Is she Jadzia Dax in this? Or is she Jadzia whatever her other name is? I forgot what it was. I looked it up to see what her name was before she was Jadzia Dax. but I don't know. I think did they call her Dax in this? I don't know. I can't remember. Anywho, whatever. So there we go. There, they're torturing the intendant. Blah blah blah. Because some of the mirror Terrans are nasty, but just O'Brien isn't. But anyway, that's it. They're going to building themselves a Defiant so they can take out the Regent's fleet, or his big ship. She escapes, does the intendant, and she shoots Jennifer. And he says, "It's my mum." Meanwhile, they're taking on the Regent's ships, and obviously they fight them off, but they'll probably be back. I imagine, but they fight them off. They cause them to retreat. But Jennifer's dying when they get back. I think the intendant escapes. The intendant escapes. I think she gets does she get a ship or something? I think she gets a ship and escapes. And they say, we will find the intendant. It's up to, she's the reason we've failed and all that. They blame her for their things. They changed the Mirror universe in DS9 where they were bad yet good. Nah, Mirror O'Brien could be Cisco in a fight. Don't know. Anyway, season 6 had a Mirror. Did it? Oh, no. I thought this was the last one. Anyway. Right, so Jennifer dies again. There we go. And obviously they're all very sad. Blah, blah, blah. And that's the end. It's all right. I don't mind. I'm not a huge fan. Not like Justin. I'm not a huge fan of the Mirror episodes, to be completely honest. But it's all right. And I thought that was the last one, but apparently I'm wrong. As I am of most things. Right, next up. What's next? What's next? Oh, the Muse. Another one that this may be my least favourite ever episode of Star Trek, maybe. But I've changed my mind. It's not. It was, but I've changed. I've changed my mind. It's not one of my favourites though. I'd probably still skip it. It's not as bad as I remember. Oh, excuse me. But it is pretty bad. This is The Muse with. It's got Luxana Troy in it, or how does... Oh, I forgot his name now. Who's she married to? Luxana Troy's in it, and she's got married to some bloke, and I forgot Michael Ansara, that's it. She got married to Michael Ansara, but not as Kang. He's not playing Kang, he's playing Jayal, an alien. Who wants to take her baby boy that she must be like 1 million years old, but she's pregnant. I know it's the 24th century, but whatever. But he doesn't call her, maybe he can't pronounce it. He don't call her Luxana, he calls her Luxwana. But anyway, never mind. Justin says, I have the complete series on DVD. Yes, so have I. Bought it back in the day. It cost me over like $500 in mid-2000s. I don't know. I've got them all up there. Are they at the front there? I think they are. I think they're at the front there. Up on my shelf. I didn't buy them all at once though. I acquired them over time. Anywho, right, so here she is, Luxana, but she's expecting she's going to have a baby. And she was running away from her husband because in their cult she's married she's not married a Betazoid. She's married from another alien, and in their culture, males raise the males, females raise the females, and she's having a boy, so he wants to take the baby from her. She don't want that. So she's gone to Odo for help. Meanwhile, Jake's having a bit of he's doing his writing, and then he comes across her, Meg Foster as the Muse. Does she have a name? Yes, Onaya. She's the Muse of the episode, and she's obviously she's an alien, But her race or her species, or maybe just her, I don't know. They kind of feed off the creative juices of, pardon me, of other races, and she's, I don't know, she must be hundreds, maybe thousands of years old, because she says she's helped, Keats and all them do their best stuff. And she's doing the same for Jake, but it ends up hurting him, and he gets nosebleeds and stuff. But he gets super creative, and he's writing his book, and it's actually, is it Anselm? It's the famous book that old Jake Sisko wrote. So he's writing that, and she's helping him do that. But it's basically killing Jake. So that's the main story, I suppose, and the Luxana one is the B plot, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, they decide that they find out that in the law of her husband, if she marries somebody else, the other marriage is like immediately dissolved. It sounds a bit silly, but anyway. So she's going to marry Odo instead. Meanwhile, she's sucking all Jake's creativeness out. She looks horrible there, doesn't she? Creativeness out of him, basically killing him. He gets all drawn and pale and stuff. And it turns out she's like non-corporeal, because she like just turns into energy and buggers off into space. So there's Michael Ansara saying Luxwana. Maybe that's deliberate. Maybe he doesn't, because he doesn't really love her. He just wanted her to be a vessel for his son or whatever. But anyway, there's Jake writing away with a pen, because she gave him a pen, did Anaya, saying that's the best way to write. Give him pen and paper, it's the best way to write. Anyway, they get married. I think they're going to annul it after a while. Just said, Jake was such an underrated character. I ran for a Hobbit, so he was cool to me. I was saying at the beginning of this season, I was never really a Jake fan up until this season, and he kind of changed after this season. He grew up, didn't he, essentially, in this season, because he didn't have Nog anymore to get into trouble with. So he became an adult, didn't he, in this season. And so that Cedric Lofton were a great actor as well, particularly in The Visitor. Anyway, they get married, and so his claim on her son is dissolved. So he buggers off, and there we go. And they're married for all intents and purposes. So is he now Odo Troy? He must be, mustn't he? But they didn't get married in a Betazoid ceremony, so he mustn't be Odo Troy. They got married in whatever species he is. Does it say? Tavnian. They didn't get married. They got married in a Tavnian ceremony. So anyway, they don't stay married for long. They say they'll annul it after a few months. But anyway, there you go. She's draining him, and there you go. He's going to end up flaking out. Where are we? And she takes Jake away and hides with him in the Jeffrey's tubes. I know they're not called that, but they find her, and she turns non-corporeal, and so we were writing Anselm, and she goes and just disappears into space. Luxana's leaving Deep Space Nine, and she's doing it for Odo. Not Frodo, for Odo. Because she's saying, she doesn't want to be a burden on him and all that, and he'd feel if she stuck around, even though they're not really married, but they are, but whatever. He'd feel that he'd have to look after her because and all that. So she's moving back to Beta Z, where she can raise her child. And I looked it up, and there's books about it. Apparently, the kid grows up and does stuff. Apparently, I don't know, but so they do mention it in Beta canon. The kid, it does have a name which I've forgotten, but anyway. So she heads back to Beta Z and all that. I don't know if we see her again in Deep Space Nine, But there you go, there you see that Jake's writing, Anselm, that's it, by Jake Sisko. His great work, apparently. Don't even know what it's about. But there we go, that's the end of that episode. Like I said, one essentially used to be my least favourite Star Trek episode, but maybe it's not so much now. Maybe it still is, I don't know, because I can't remember all of them. But it's not as bad as I remembered. But anyway. Next up. What's next? For the Cause. Alright, it's this one. This one's the one where Cassidy, she's essentially living with Jake. Well, yeah, because he's there. Living with Ben. They're in full bloom romance. Look, they're in the same bed and everything. And she's off to work. Oh, crikey. Thank you, Justin. Super sticker from Justin. What is it? Let's have a look. Does it tell us? It's a hippo clapping, sort of. I don't know. It's going giggy. Going giggy. Is the hippo. Thank you very much, Justin. It's hugely appreciated. Thank you. Great stuff. Great stuff. Don't know why it doesn't display them on when you do that. Why doesn't it display the image? I don't know. But anyway, where were we? And apologise for my voice. I'll tell her, very hoarse. Right, she's off to work. Remember, she's a freighter captain, so she's off to work doing freightering stuff. But it turns out she's working. Delivering supplies and stuff to the Maquis, and they get word on that it's Cassidy Yates. That Starfleet intelligence suspects that somebody's shipping supplies and stuff, food and medicines to the Maquis in the Badlands, and they think it's Cassidy Yates. So they're basically going to hang on, where are we? Going to trap her and see what happens, or follow her. And I think this is where we get the second version of Zial. I think it is, because it was different anyway. Yes, Tracy Middendorf as Zial. So I think it's become somebody else again later. But anyway, right. So there we go. So we learn that Cassidy is a smuggler for the Maquis. Zial and Garak have a burgeoning relationship. He's not gay. Don't listen to Andrew Robinson. Don't know what he's on about. There you go. They're following there. They're following the Zosa. I presume they're cloaked. I presume they are. In the Defiant, and she goes into the Badlands, and they see him doing stuff for the Maquis, so he's got to confront her all about it. Also, I think some replicators, I think like industrial replicators or something, are being delivered to Deep Space Nine in like a subplot. And it turns out that they're using Cassidy as a distraction, so that the real baddie, Lieutenant Commander Thingamabob, Michael Eddington, played by Kenneth Marshall from Krull, turns out he's joined the Maquis and he wants to get the replicators for the Maquis, and that's what he's doing because Sisko's off the station now with mostly everybody else. He's technically in charge of Deep Space Nine, so he's barking orders, and he's stealing the replicators for himself, or not for himself, for the Maquis. And there we go, and they contacts him, and he's saying, "Oh, the Federation's turned its back on the people in the demilitarized zone," which is kind of true. But Sisko's all like, "He's that angry, look, his pips have gone round to the front." Unless he just turned really quick. But he doesn't care that the Maquis are basically fighting for their lives against Cardassian oppression. He don't care about that. It's just that Eddington has betrayed his oath to Starfleet, and that's all he cares about. which is kind of why Eddington ends up calling him Javert, doesn't he, from Les Mis. But anyway, so that's where we learned that Eddington was the baddie all along. Garak and Zial go into a Cardassian sauna in the holosuites. Blah, blah, blah. He thinks, Garak maybe thinks that she's going to kill him because she's Guldy Cat's daughter, but she says, I'm not going to kill you. And they end up being friends and I think falling in love in the end. There they go. Cassidy comes back to the station by herself. She drops her crew off with the Maquis so that they don't have to answer for what they've done. But she goes back. And she's going to go to prison. I think she gets like 6 months or something, I think, in prison. But we learn that they're still in love. But, you know, the trust issues, obviously. But they're still in love. And off she goes. She's off to prison now. What's going to happen to her ship? Is going to stay docked there at Deep Space Nine? Don't know. Don't know. But anyway, good episode for the cause. But not a good episode, I think, for Cisco, because he kind of gets bamboozled easily, doesn't he? And he shows his weaknesses, that, you know, that he doesn't want to believe that people he loves can do bad things, which they do. Although she wasn't really doing bad things in her mind. She was helping people. She was delivering food and medical supplies. She wasn't delivering weapons or all like that to the Maquis. She was doing like humanitarian stuff. But anyway, whatever. A good episode. Who directed that one, by the way, for the cause? Excuse me. James L. Conway. That's an old name, isn't it? I think he directed Way of the Warrior. He also directed Hangar 18. It's a good film, is that? I've gone too far now. There we go. Right, where are we up to? What's next? Where were we for the cause? Right, next up. Hang on, I haven't clicked it, have I? Next up is, what is it? To the Death. Is it Prince Vultan, played by Brian Blessed in Flash Gordon? To the Death! Which is this one? This is the one with the Iconian gateways, right. Cisco and his hypocrisy, Justin says. You betrayed your oath big time later on in the show. Yes, in the Pale Moonlight, is that what you're on about? It does big time, doesn't it? Because he can live with it. Anyway, but it was war. Anyway, whatever. Right. Where are we? Right, in Defiant. Presumably in the Gamma Quadrant. Can't remember why. They get back to the station. It's blown up. One of the cool stuff. One of the pylons blown up. A Jem'Hadar attack squad, whatever. Death squad. Boarded the station, planted explosives, and blew that up. So they go back to look for him. Go back to the Gamma Quadrant to look for him. There we go. They find a Jem'Hadar ship that's damaged and it's going to blow up or whatever. So they beam them out. They beam the survivors out. Jeffrey Combs is here as Wayoon. Is this the first time we see Wayoon? It might be. Justin says, yes, worst episode of Trek all time, in my opinion. Crikey. It's a lot of people's favourites, isn't it, in the Pale Moonlight? It's up there, isn't it? I don't mind it. But yes, I think Cisco is a bit of a hypocrite. I mean, particularly after they give Worf that chewing out for destroying that decloaking freighter. But anyway. Where were we? Yes. So they beam these out and save their lives. I think we've got, what's his face? What's his name? It's been in X-Files and loads of stuff. I'm going to have to bloody look it up. I can never remember his name. Never remember anybody's bloody name. Brian Thompson, there we go, as Toman Tarax. Great. I love the Jem'Hadar names. We've also got Virak Kara and Ometi Clan. Ometi Clan, I think, is my favourite all time Jem'Hadar name. I don't know why, it just rolls off the tongue. Ometi Clan. Justin says, I know people love it in the Pale Moonlight, but in my opinion, it was the beginning of Star Trek's problems. That Section 31. Okay, I'm done. You could say that. I think, a lot of people have said Gene Roddenberry wouldn't like Deep Space Nine, and I think he's right. They're right. I don't think he would have liked Deep Space Nine. He'd probably like Voyager for the most part, but I don't think he'd have liked Deep Space Nine because I think it did stray from, the Roddenberry way quite often. But I think most of the time, it was in the spirit of proper Star Trek. Anywho, where were we? Right, so yes, they've saved these. Pardon me. It turns out they're on the trail of I think it was the Jem'Hadar that attacked the station. They're on the trail because the renegade Jem'Hadar. So they're on their trail. They've gone to this planet where there's an Iconian gateway. Off they go. They've got to team up with Jem'Hadar to beat the rebel Jem'Hadar and destroy the Iconian gateways. Because they said, can't have rebel Jem'Hadar rampaging through the galaxy through Iconian gateways. But anyway. So they end up training together, and they kind of get respect for each other. Particularly, I think it's a Meti clan who is the lead one. I think I could be wrong, but anyway, they end up going on the mission to wherever it is. Come on, get there then. Is it a two-parter? I think it just ends really suddenly, doesn't it? We're nearly there. All right. Right, so they end up beaming down to, I don't know, some Stargate thing. Stargate planet. Justin says, I think Gene would have liked Deep Space Nine because of the spirit, like I said, but some episodes are just too much. I think it does stray quite a bit sometimes, doesn't it? But overall, love DS9. It's my second favourite. Yeah, well, cool. It's not my second favourite. I don't know. Because I change. I don't know what my favourite Star Trek is Enterprise. I love Enterprise, and I can watch that all the time. But like TNG and Deep Space Nine and Voyager, I'm always swapping and trucking between them, which are my favourites. So I can't choose between them three. But Enterprise is my favourite. I don't know why, it just is. I love it. Anyway. Even though I know it does have problems. Anyway. Right, so the beam down. The weapons don't work because of some sort of, dampening field. So they've got to use, their bladed weapons, blah, blah, blah. People keep dying. They've got to fight these rebel Jem'Hadar. They get to the Iconian gateway, plant their explosives, fight. And it get out, plant explosives, get out, it blows up. I think we get to see the gateway doing its stuff. There it is, look. Changing the we've seen that. That's Bajor, isn't it? Are they going to Bajor? I think it's Bajor. Maybe they were. Just says, I'm stubborn, sorry. TNG all the way, DS9 and Third Enterprise. Nothing stubborn about it. Nothing stubborn about it. And it's cool. Anywho, where were we? Right, so they plant the explosives, get out, it all blows up. I think, where have we seen it? Here comes Weyoun. I think, is he coming? Here comes Weyoun with the Ketracel White, and I think it's a Meti clan. I think that's who it is. My favourite name. It just kills him. It just vaporizes Weyoun. So I don't know how many Weyouns do we have. Do we get up to like Weyoun 7 or something like that? This is Weyoun 1. There we go. Vaporized. Because I don't. Have we learned already that the I forgot what they call them now. What they call them? The Weyoun people. I forgot what they call them now. have we learned yet that they're clones as well? I don't think we have we? But anyway. Wingray says, TNG to Enterprise are all top tier to me. Was it 9? We had 9 Wayhoons, I can't remember. Vorta, that's it. What? Couldn't remember that. Because I'm an idiot, that's why, yes. And they're all telling me, they're all shouting at their screens. Vorta. I know I'm stupid, I forget things. Anyway, so he's killed him because, he's an idiot. Not him, Wayhoon. And they say, we were allies today, but next time we meet, we will be enemies. And he's going to stay on this planet, him and his men, and they're going to, round up the rest of the rebels. So off they go. He's going to leave them behind, and I guess they'll phone for help. No, you're not. You're very wise. I'm not wise. The last thing I am. Anyway. So off they go, and that's the end of that episode. It's a good, fun episode. It's good. It's nice to see, enemies coming together for, a joint cause. Oh dear. But it's a fun episode. And I said, nice to see Iconian gateways again. Every time Starfleet comes across an Iconian gateway, it's got to destroy it, hasn't it? Anyway, right, so there we go. That were a good one. To the death. Good one. Right, next. What's the next episode? The Quickening. How many have we got left? Oh, we're nearly there now. 3 episodes and we're done. The Quickening. I didn't like this one either. But, it's all right. It's not terrible. Bashir and Dax go to a planet in the Gamma Quadrant. Not on purpose. I think they pick up like a distress signal. They're in the Gamma Quadrant. In a runabout, again, you think all missions to the Gamma Quadrant, they'd be in the Defiant, wouldn't you? But anyway. Wingray says, the Gateway's novices is good. There can be only one Highlander. But you think they're usually Defiant, wouldn't you? It's cloaking things. But no, they keep going in runabouts into the Gamma Quadrant. She's with them as well. I forgot she was there. And they find a distress. They pick up a distress signal. They beam down and they see that everybody's poorly. We learn that the Jem'Hadar attacked their world. They didn't want to join the Dominion. This was like hundreds of years ago. I think they didn't want to join the Dominion, so basically the Dominion poisoned the planet and made them all ill. They've all got the Quickening. And Bashir and Dax stay behind. And Kira takes the runabout back. And here we see, I forgot his bloody name now. Where are we? Where are we looking? The Quickening. He played Frankenstein's monster in Frankenstein the True Story. I've forgotten his name now. Michael Sarrazin. That's who he is. There's no real baddies in this episode, by the way. He plays like a doctor on this planet. What's it called? Does it have a name? Doesn't say. Never mind. Wingray, this is my favourite Bashir episode. Finally gets his ego deflated. Yeah, a bit, yeah. Because he can't solve the problem, can they? Anyway, he's a doctor who's essentially like a, what they call a hospice doctor. He's running like a hospice, helping people who get the Quickening. Because when this disease spreads, they get these veins and stuff all over, and then they're going to die. And he helps them pass peacefully. Little to no pain, with their families around them. So he's providing that service. But obviously, Bashir thinks he can cure them because he's cocky and all that. But, he can't tell the difference between a post-ganglionic nerve and a whatever. Pre-ganglionic fibre. I don't know, whatever. He did that on purpose, though, didn't he? But he's trying to cure it, so he's going to try and solve this problem for him with her help. She looks familiar. I've seen her in something else, probably Star Trek, but she looks familiar. She's expecting a baby. and I think the baby's maybe it's not the cure, but I think it helps, doesn't it? But anyway, so people are still dying. He can't help them. So he gets, as I said, his ego's deflated. But I think she dies, doesn't she? But a baby's born. She dies. Look, she gets the quickening, and her baby is born because her baby's doesn't have the disease because something he gave her helped. Because he gave her that, he thought he'd worked out a cure, but the baby took all the cure, in the womb. The baby absorbed all the vaccine or whatever. So the baby doesn't have the disease. So maybe there is a cure, but, it's not going to happen overnight, is it? So there we go. So anyway, so he can't stay there. Off he goes and blah, blah, blah. He's got to sit there and ponder all about it. It's not bad, but, But, it's one of those. Tank got pew-pews and explosions in it. But it's fine. It's fine. It's a thought-provoking episode, isn't it? And it does stick in your mind, I must admit, because it is one of those episodes, more than a lot of Deep Space Nine episodes, where I often think, what was that episode where they went to that planet that the Dominion, diseased? And so it is memorable in that way, I suppose. But anyway, next up is Deep Space Nine. Hang on, where are we? Body parts. Oh, this is one where it's kind of a comedic one, I suppose, where Quark thinks he's dying. He went back to Ferenginar, and his doctor told him he was dying. He had some disease. Don't ask me what disease he's got. Dorek syndrome. So he thinks he's got a week to live or something like that. So he's going to sell off his body parts, in desiccated discs. That's what some Ferengi do. So he puts his body on the market, and it's bought up for like is it 500,000 is it strips of gold pressed platinum? Oh, excuse me. Does it say? 500 bars, that's it, 500 bars of gold pressed platinum. So he sends an anonymous bid for his body parts. And also in this episode, the other plot in this episode, there's an accident in a runabout again. There's always accidents, these runabouts, isn't there? And Keiko and Kira were on board, and Bashir as well, I think. And something happened, and Keiko were injured, and the baby, something happened with the baby, and the only way to save the baby was for Bashir to beam little baby. What did they end up calling him? Is it like Hero or something? I can't remember what they call him. They end up beaming him into the womb of Major Kira, which is a way for them, because I think she was actually pregnant at the time. Was she having Alexander Siddig's baby at the time? Were they together now? I don't know. But anyway, it's a way for them to show that she's pregnant in real life. So that's that plot. So now we get an extended thing of Kira living with the O'Briens because they can't take the baby out. Yoshi, all right. They can't take the baby, so she's got to carry the baby to term. So we get lots of domestic scenes with the O'Briens and Kira. So anyway, so he's sold his body parts for 500 bars of gold pressed platinum, but then he learns he's not dying. He gets a message from the doctor on Ferenginar that he made a mistake. He's not actually dying. He ain't got Dorek syndrome. But it's too late because Ferengi rules of acquisition. A contract is a contract is a contract, and you can't break it. And then we learn the person that's bought his body parts is Brunt. There he is. Jeffrey Combs again. And he wants, the contract to be... looks like bloody face there. He wants Quark's body. Contract is a contract. He owes him all those desiccated, what do they call them, slides, whatever, of his body. So he's got to kill himself as Quark, or if he breaks the contract, he'll never have anything Ferengi again. Yes, that's why she tells Bashir, this is all your fault in the episode. Oh, right, fair enough. Is that a bit of fourth wall breaking, sort of? So anyway, there's no way he can get round it, basically, for Quark. He asked Garak to assassinate him. Because he goes in, I want you to assassinate somebody. He says, oh, you want to, and Rom says, you want to assassinate Brunt? He says, no, I want you to assassinate me. And so he thinks Garak's going to assassinate him at any moment, and then he has a dream that he's in the divine treasury. He thinks that Garak has succeeded in assassinating him, but it's just a dream. And the Grand Negus Prim or something, I think that's what they call him, is it? Does it say? Gint, Grand Negus Gint. The first Grand Negus looks just like Rom, because he's played by Max Grodenchik. And he also sees Brunt, and but it's all just a dream. And there we go, Brunt strangling him, and then he wakes up. Hang on, where are we? He wakes up strangling himself, and so he's decided he's going to break the contract. So that's what he does. He says, I'm breaking the contract. So he says, right, so Ikazaki, I own everything. Wingate says, I always remembered this dream as being a fake trick in the holosuite, but I guess not. No, it was just a dream. It was just a dream he had. So Brunt basically takes everything off Quark, because he broke the contract. All the belongings in, not the bar itself. Is that because it belongs to Deep Space Nine, the bar itself? But he takes everything in, everything that belongs to Quark. He takes all that. He says the bar is closed and all that stuff. And there we go. So he's got nothing. But then everybody starts coming in, giving presents. Dax comes in with something. Can't remember what. They'll start coming in a minute. Bashir comes in with some booze that he doesn't like, and Dax comes in with some glasses. That's it, some ugly glasses. And then Cisco comes in with loads of people bringing chairs and stuff, saying we need to move these from a cargo bay. Can we store them in here, seeing as this isn't being used? And then Quark. So they're obviously all being nice. They're all giving him stuff to open the bar up again. And Quark says, you can only store it here for a nominal fee, because he's a Ferengi. So his bar's back open now. So he's building his empire back up from the beginning. There we go. Good to have friends. Good to have friends. It's a typical late Star Trek, Berman era, late episode that's got nothing to do with everything that's gone before. It's just a standalone episode, isn't it? I suppose you could say, apart from the Kira bit, which moves forward, but apart from that, it's just a standalone episode that's got nothing to do with that, the Dominion. That's what I'm on about. It's got nothing to do with the Dominion or the Klingons or anything. But it's fun, and it's nice that, Quark, even though they're going about Quark, and now he's this villain and all that, but we all love him, don't we? And they all love him, and they help him out. And there we go. Right, next. I think we're on the last episode now, are we? Yes, we are. Broken Link. Dun, 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 the last episode of the season, the finale. Odo gets ill. But first, Garak is kind of setting, being a matchmaker for Odo with this Bajoran cougar. But, I wouldn't say no. But I was giggling. At the end, I was giggling away to myself thinking, but never mind. We'll get to that. And I'll probably forget. And I'll probably not say it anyway because it's rude what I was thinking and giggling about. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Obviously, he's not really interested, but she wants to have dinner with him. She's opened a restaurant or something up on the promenade, a Bajoran restaurant. So you come, I don't eat. And she says, well, I do. So they're going to have friends or whatever. They're going to become friends and maybe more. I don't know. Do we see her again? I don't know. I know we see her again later this episode, but do we see her again in other episodes? I can't remember. Anyway, suddenly Odo falls ill, gets all ill and he starts, there we go, changelinging. Anyway, and he collapses. So he's really ill and he's not doing well. And they don't know what's wrong with him. And But meanwhile, the Klingons are up to shenanigans and they want to annex the Arcanis system, which they claim is an ancient. The Klingons have an ancient claim on it, but it's got no real strategic significance. But they want it anyway, so they're willing to go to war over it. But anyway, she was supposed to come back as a guest. I was going to say. As a recurring, but I think they decided to, they waived something with Kira. Yes, he ends up going with Kira, doesn't he? Eventually. Anywho, there's Gowron with his eyes. Can't see my eyes, can you? Saying, we are reclaiming the Arcanis sector, blah, blah, blah. This dishy alien Odo's going about his work, and she's up to summit. I don't know who the hell she is, but she's been in it before, but she's well fit. Whoever the hell she is. I don't know, how did it... What is it? I forgot his name now. Michael Westmore. How can he make these alien women sexy? I don't know how he does it, but... is it Arroyo? No. Freighter Captain Leslie Bevis. Leslie Bevis, American former model and actress, it says. I'm looking on Wikipedia, just hovered over her name. She's 71 now, bless her. She's not 71 there, though, is she? Anyway, she's smuggling something or other, and Odo's gone to catch her in the act, but then he gets ill. There we go, he collapses. And so she says, let's get out of here. So they get out of there. And Odo's not doing well now. Look, he's gone all sweaty and melty. So they don't know what to do. He's even contacted Dr. Mora on Bajor, who the doctor that, the Bajoran scientist that first experimented on Odo when they first found him in the Denarius belt. But then they realise the only thing that they can do is take him back to the Founders. Only they can help him. So they decide that's what they're going to do. They're going to go back into the Gamma Quadrant, see if they can find the Founders. So Garak decides he wants to go with them because he wants to know what happened with the fleet that were destroyed in Season 3. The Obsidian Order and Tal Shiar fleet that were destroyed by the Dominion. He wants to go back and see what happened, ask the Founders. Anyway, they get into the Gamma Quadrant and not cloaked and just send out a signal, whatever, saying, hello! And Jem'Hadar arrive, lots of them, look. And then the beam aboard, there we go, the Jem'Hadar. And the lady, it's the Salome Jen's founder. And she agrees to help Odo, and they're going to take him to the new Founders' home world. Because remember, the other one got destroyed, so they've gone to the new one. But obviously, they can't let them go. They can't let them pilot it. The Jem'Hadar are going to pilot the Defiant, and they stick a device on so that their systems will not have a record of where the Founders' home world is. Right, so they go down. She goes down to see Odo, and She stabilises him a bit, but he's not completely well. And but anyway. We learn that he's going to be judged because I think they've been a bit harsh on Odo here, but he's going to be judged because he's the only changeling that has ever harmed another one. Remember, at the end of season 3, there were a changeling on the Defiant, and he and Odo kind of struggled. And really, the other changeling attacked Odo, really. He went like, "Rah!" and attacked Odo. Then Odo kind of just threw him off. And he landed on the warp core and got zapped. So it wasn't deliberate, he was like defending himself. So I think they've been a bit harsh on Odo. But he's going to be judged because he killed another. It didn't really, it was an accident, but he killed another changeling. So to go to the great link to be judged. So that's what they're going to do. So off they go. And Garak asks about what happened to are there any survivors of the attack? And she just tells him, no, there's no survivors. They're all dead. She says, and you're dead. And Cardassier is doomed. The moment you attacked us, you were all doomed. So he goes, oh, like that. This was episode where the virus passed on by Section 31, I think it is, yes. Because I think they give him the virus when he were on Earth wanting home front, Paradise Lost. Section 31 infected him, didn't they? So I think you're right. Anyway, so they arrive at the Founder's home world. They beam down. Oh, excuse me. And he goes into the Great Link, and they've got to sit and twiddle their thumbs for a while. Meanwhile, Garax wants to take control of the photon torpedoes and quantum torpedoes or whatever, and basically destroy the planet, but Worf finds him and has a little fight. And I thought he said in this, let's have a little bit of a fight here, look. And I thought he said in this, you fight well for a tailor, but he might have said it, I don't know, but does he say it here?
You fight well.
Oh, yeah.
For a tailor.
Yes, he did. He did say it. I thought so. But anyway. Passed on during peacetime. 31 evil now and always. Yes, they are. Although they think they're doing good, don't they? They think they're protecting the Federation. Anywho. Right. So, Odo comes out now. Naked and human. He's got a heart and lungs and all that stuff. But I thought he'd scanned. I thought if you used a tricorder on a changeling in human form, I thought they had all that anyway. Because they've always said, haven't they? If you're in human form, when we scan you, you will look like that. I'll just detect. But anyway, whatever. He's human now. That's his punishment. He's a solid now. He can't changelinging now. But they've left his face as Odo face. But anyway, so he's lying there. He's got a knob out and everything. But anyway, so the beam up. Oh, she comes out and says, "This is his punishment. He is a solid now. Take him back with you. Don't look at his knob." Anyway, so sorry. She says, "Sorry, Odo," and off he goes. And there you go. See, he's got blood look and hairy arms. Did he have hairy arms before? Don't know. He's got hairy arms now. I never noticed before, when he were Odo, did he ever show off his arms, bare arms, as Odo? I don't know. But he's got blood now. Type O negative, apparently. I think that's what they said. It's not got subtitles, has it? No. So, anyway, so there he is. So he's now a solid, and he gets hungry and stuff. And there we go. So they're going back to the station. There he goes, wearing clothes now, because they can't changelinging clothes, can they? So he's wearing clothes, and he says it's a bit itchy, but Garak says you'll get used to it. So anyway, thinks he's hungry. So I think she's going to appear now. Is what's face? There you go. She appears now, and I was just thinking of Anchorman, because he's human now. Well, humanoid, isn't he? So he's a solid. With all the solid equipment, and she's there flaunting herself at him. And I was just thinking of Anchorman. If you know what I'm on about, you know what I'm on about. But anyway, so They're going to have dinner because he eats now or whatever. But anyway, right. So they're on the promenade, and we're learning that the Klingons have annexed the Arcanist system. It's on a monitor there. The Gowron's there saying, we have annexed the Arcanist system, blah, blah, blah. They're all saying, ooh, the stakes have got higher. But then Odo says, ooh, I remember now, when I was in the link, I saw images and stuff that they were trying to hide from me. And then he goes on this really long thing. He says, they were trying to hide. It's him. What they were trying to hide from me is that Gowron, the leader of the Klingon Empire, and I'm like, come on, get on with it, is a changeling. Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile, is that a Malon behind? Have we met the Malons yet? Looks like one, doesn't it? Behind there. Look, we're seeing Voyager towards the end. It can't be, can it? They're in the Delta Quadrant. Looks like a Malon, that, doesn't it? Anyway, whatever. Or maybe he's a pack led. Anyway. There we go. Here's it. I'll just play it. Look.
One of them was him.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that he's one of them.
So it's going on, innit? One of them. Gowron. The time to fill or something. I don't know.
Gowron, the head of the Klingon Empire, is a changeling.
Is a changeling. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. That's the end of season 4. Hey, so now we've got to suss out how to sort out Gowron, haven't we, in season 5, which we do. Which we do with the help of Guldukat in his Bird of Prey that he got in this season. But anyway, so there we go. That's the end of season 4 of Deep Space Nine. A pretty good season, I think, apart from the couple of episodes that I'm not a huge fan of. But I think for the most part, they were really, really good episodes. And one of the better seasons, maybe the best season of Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine did Gowron dirty, in my opinion, says Justin. He's a Klingon. He's doing Klingon stuff. And we learn, spoilers, we learn that he's not a changeling. It's Martok who's the changeling. Just say, yeah, season 4 was good. Yes, it was good. As I said, some great episodes. You know, Way of the Warrior. This might be my favourite episode of Deep Space Nine. It could have been a movie, but it was that good, I think. And The Visitor sets me off crying every time. What else did we have? I've forgotten already. Look, what other ones do I think were really good? Let's go through them. Where the Warrior, The Visitor, Hippocratic Oath were pretty good. Starship Down were fun. Little Green Men's fun. Sword of Careless, Arman Bashir, the two-parter Homefront to Paradise Lost, great stuff. What else was it? The other one, Hard Time, the O'Brien one, really good. Hard Time. And For the Cause, I enjoyed that as well. And as I said, Broken Link, good episode. A good finale for season 4, because it leaves it all on a cliffhanger. It does, right, so we'll leave it there. We're all done and dusted. Another season of Deep Space Nine out of the way. So we've got season 5 for next time. So, Apocalypse Rising, the ship. Looking for Parmac in all the wrong places where they fall in love, don't they? I think it's Worf and Dax fall in love, don't they? Got Trials and Tribulations coming up in season 5. What else have we got? Michael Eddington for the uniform. Is that where we see the last of Michael Eddington? I think it could be. In Purgatory's Shadow and by Inferno's Light. Which is that one? Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one with the where we find that the real Martok's still alive, isn't he? And the Nabrantain. I think it's that one. I think. Dr. Bashir, I presume. Is that what I'm thinking of when I were on about? Is there another one that's like James Bond, or is that a different one? Don't know. No, that's the one where we learn that Dr. Bashir basically is whatchamacallit, an augment, innit, sort of, but not really, a little bit. Anyway, that's all coming up in season 5. Oh, we've got Empok Nor as well, which is like a horror episode, isn't it? Was that the Halloween one? No, May. Never mind. So there we go. So cool stuff. Right, we'll leave it there. What's coming up next? On Friday, for Appointment with Fear this Friday, we're doing Final Destination 3, which should be fun. And then next Monday, for Magnificent Mondays, I think it is Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park. That's what we're doing next Monday. And then the Monday after, Back to the Future. Because it's the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. Wow, so cool stuff to look forward to. Right, we'll leave it there. So thanks, Justin. And thank you for the $5 super sticker. Hugely appreciated. Thanks, Wingrace, for correcting me when I get stuff wrong. And thanks, Justin, as well, for that as well. Both of you. And reminding me of things that I can't remember because I'm an idiot. And as soon as I switch the camera on, everything just gets wiped from my brain. I think there's radiation or something. I don't know. Did anybody else pop in that I didn't notice? No, I don't think they did they? No, Josh Temple. Josh Temple's lurking. Yes, of course. Josh Temple's lurking. Harpoon at the ready. So thank you for lurking as well. Justin says, yes, love Jurassic Park 2, and I'm welcome. Yeah, it's all right. I don't mind Lost World Jurassic Park. It's basically, I think they called it that because essentially it's a remake-ish of The Lost World, isn't it? From, well, the 1920, I don't know, 6 or something, I can't remember when it came out. Original, the Willis O'Brien one. And there were another version in 1960 which were a bit poo, wasn't it? One where they had lizards with stuck horns on lizards and stuff and pretended they were dinosaurs. But anyway, kind of a remake of that. But it's fun. Right, so, and it's the anniversary of it next week. What am I doing it for? Oh, because Jurassic World Rebirth's coming out, isn't it? That's why I'm doing Jurassic Park 2. Anywho, we'll leave it there. We will leave it there. Because my voice is going. Oh, press wrong button. Sorry. There we go. I'm dopey. Right. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. I'm sure I've forgotten something. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Let's check Rumble. Make sure nobody's commented. No, they haven't. Right, fair enough. Right, so we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. Live long and prosper. And until next time, I'll say there. Never put it. Where is it now? I've lost it. There we go. Found it.